Hello, it's welcome. Let's just try that again. We have Mercury retrograde. It's Friday. I think I'm already tripping over my words. We have Mercury retrograde going on April 1st, April Fool's Day. No fooling. Hello and welcome to Namaste Today Live, my friends. I am Sensei Christopher Woteki, here to bring love, light, joy, and ascension tools, tips, and tricks to you. Because when you go higher, we go higher. Welcome. We are streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, X.com, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram as well. If you're in the chat, the super chat, we'll stop by and say hello. We are uniting all the chats together in one. Tell us where you are coming from and say hello to our happy family. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Scott Cruz. My brother's in the house. So nice of you to show up, my friend. Of course. Hello, Ash. Hello, Rachie. The Shots Method is here. Hello, my soul brother, Daryl Blankenship. You are so awesome, dude. Iggy, we love you, dude. Faith Paulel, hello, aloha. Hey to the Iggy again. Joni, it's so nice. You're from Portland, Oregon. Oh, I love it. And Rachie from upstate New York. One more we'll just do. I can't read it fast enough. Let's see here. The Crooked Trail. Okay, and so it is. Lori Ship, nice to see you. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here. We are rocking and rolling. I am streaming from Colorado as we speak today. We have a great show for you. So much going on. Count your blessings, do those last minute tech issues because we have a lot of changes coming up this week. First of all, we'll be talking about the eclipse hangover. Are you feeling the hangover? It was a pretty intense eclipse at 5 degrees Libra this last Monday. How are you holding up? That'll be a question we'll be talking about today. Mercury is retrograde. That will be on this Monday, April 1st. I'll be talking about what that means for the entire month of April, basically. And Venus conjoins Neptune on Wednesday, which, in my opinion, will seal your fate. I mean that dramatically on purpose. And later on ASTRO Mingle tonight, I'm super excited. We have author of the Shine from the Inside Oracle, women's empowerment coach, psychic medium, psychic salon owner, Brittney Carmichael is here to talk about manifesting magic, multiple six-figure passion-based businesses, and for you ladies, reclaiming your goddess power. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. Zodiac weather is from Saturday, March 30th to Friday, April 5th, 2024. Looking ahead at the weekend forecast, it's going to be a peaceful weekend as you wrap up all the steps to create your new Migo, and Sunday you are reborn, and it's also Easter. On Saturday, it's sunny and captivating. Step 10 means that Earth rules the day. This will be a quiet day where you feel maybe a little insecure as things are coming together and you are manifesting a new Migo approach. The moon is in Sagittarius, so you are exploring your story and you are consciously shifting, you could say, your spiritual pitch. On Sunday, it's sunny and devoted. It's also Easter. Step 11 rules today, so it's a day of coming into alignment, integrity, focusing on your health. It's an Easter day, but it's also a day of aligning with your soul astrologically, so Easter's quite appropriate for this day. The moon is crossing the galactic center in Sagittarius, so you will feel during this day not only your alignment, but your place in the universe. Looking ahead at the 5-day weekday forecast, after closing the story and building a new Migo, it's now time to take that Migo and explore the ego. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and responsible. Jupiter rules the day with step 12, so it's a day of open-heartedness and light learning, but Mercury stations retrograde, which means you are now thinking inside out from the character you want to be all the way down to the path of least resistance. On this day, you're going to feel, although maybe a little foggy, that you are expanding your daily activities and developing your spiritual promise. And with the moon in Capricorn, even though Mercury is retrograde, you're quite serious and ready for business. On Tuesday, it's sunny in Caddy. Step 13 means Uranus rules the day. It's going to be a weird day. Things may feel off. Expect the unexpected and break down breakthroughs. You are innovating your daily behavior and the activities you do, and intuiting what needs to happen next. And again, with the moon in Capricorn, you are grounded with focus and determination. On Wednesday, it's sunny and you're feeling quite sharp. Step 14 means Mercury retrograde rules the day. On this day, you're probably going to reframe the way you think about your daily life because you're opening up to a new potential destiny. That destiny is in the air because Venus is conjoining Neptune. So you're really feeling your purpose on Earth. And with the moon in Aquarius, you're also tuning into the vibration of this future. On Thursday, it's sunny and futuristic. Step 15 means Venus rules the day. This is a creative resting and receiving day. Things will be calm, easygoing, trying to find the balance in things. You're also trying to identify the path of least resistance. That's because the sun conjoins the North Node in Aries on this day. Once you find that path, you could say, this is the way. And with the moon in Aquarius, you're also feeling how it will affect community and relationships. And then on Friday, it's sunny and quiet. Step 16 means that Neptune rules this day, so you are tuning in to your spiritual calling and aligning your spirit with your path. You could also say you are affirming your strength as Venus moves into Aries. And just to top the week off with a spiritual note after Easter, the moon is moving from Aquarius into Pisces, and so on this next 7 day, you are really feeling your spiritual calling.
It's SiriusJoy, joy, joy.
I am loving those rolling Easter eggs. If you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe to our YouTube channel, SiriusJoy TV. Hit the bell button so you're notified when we go live. And if you don't mind, please like this video right now. Smash the like button so that YouTube will promote us to other people who dig astrology. Namaste Today Live is sponsored this week by Unite the Light, the unique and individual Lightworker Summit coming on May 18th and 19th in Austin, Texas. This will be at the Renaissance Austin, just north of the city, right by the Arboretum. It's in a nice little packet of nature there in Texas. If you haven't been to Austin, Austin is pretty cool. A lot of influencers, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of spiritual people have moved to Austin. It has become an epicenter of spiritual enlightenment. Believe it or not, it was always a hippie town in Texas, but now it's becoming a hippie capital of the country. This is going to be a phenomenal 2-day event. It is designed for people who want to do good on the earth. Are you here to make the earth a better place? Then we want you to be a part of Unite the Light. My joke is all the most evil people in the world meet once a year at some island to talk about taking over the world. Why doesn't the light workers come together once a year and discuss uniting the light and liberating the world from these issues? We're going to be coming together. It's a spiritual show and tell on Saturday, sort of like a spiritual TED Talk. If you enjoy the people we choose for ASTRO Mingle, you will love Unite the Light because I'm bringing a phenomenal show together. On Saturday night, we have a dinner gala. We're all going to get together, have some entertainment, kind of network and get to know each other. And then on Sunday, we have a panel discussion with many influencers talking about important topics today. You don't want to miss this. This is going to be a unique event. People who are there, I'm just going to say right now, who come to this first event will have a special status with us for the rest of your life. I'm not kidding. You will be labeled a forefather or foremother of the event. So I'd love for you to come because this is the first annual Be a Forefather or Foremother of Unite the Light. Be a part of this. Be a part of our group picture. Go to unitethelight.love for pre-sale tickets right now. We will be emailing the actual ticket. It's probably going to be assigned to something. So we're trying to go paperless right now, but purchase your tickets while supplies last. And I will want to say there are so many different hotels and places you can stay in Austin. It has really hotels and motels for all income groups. So there's really no price hold up, I think, with going. I hope to see you there. I'll give you a selfie. I'll give you a hug, and I will welcome you as a forefather or mother to Unite the Light. And we'll be talking a little bit more at the end of the show. We are looking for some resources and extra help with the Unite the Light Summit as well. So without further ado, I think it's time to talk about you. Let's move on to our weekly planets and transits. I'll tell you, I'm going to date myself, but those bunny pictures remind me of the Cadbury egg commercials we had growing up. I'm a Gen Xer. Gen Xers, shout out to the Gen Xers. It's an amazing moment where there was like the Cadbury bunny was, making chicken sounds. Super funny. Anyways, welcome, my friends. We're upon the month of April, actually. This is the wrap up this weekend of March. It's also Easter for those who celebrate or who identify as Christians or people who know Jesus. Now, we can go down a long path there, but I personally believe Jesus did exist. I call him Master Jesus and his wife, Master Mary. I believe Mary Magdalene is his soulmate. That's probably a rabbit hole we can go down one day. But I do think it's kind of poetic. I don't know if there are astrologers over in Rome, but I have a feeling that there are, because this really is this weekend a rebirthing weekend. We'll be talking about it. And what we are rebirthing is the MIGO. Let me roll back the clocks just a little bit and catch you up. If you're new here to SiriusJoy, or if you're new here to Namaste Today Live, welcome, my friend. You are part of our family. We are here together as a community to raise the vibration of the earth and give Earth 3 a try. If you want to know what I mean by Earth 3, go back to last week's show. I talked in depth about that. So we're at a very important time. In fact, we're on the precipice of really a phenomenal movement here on Earth. And I do believe it's going to be quite a movement. And I am so excited. In March, what we have been doing has been ultimately finding our inner new spiritual story. So in March, what we did, because we're wrapping it up, so I'll just go ahead and wrap up March here real quickly. We were faced with our karma, which is our spiritual issues from past lives, the issues that we have hangups over. And since Saturn went into Pisces last year, in March of last year, 2023, we were called to action to take responsibility to eliminate our karma with ourself. All right. So karma with yourself is, I let myself down. I don't stand up for myself. I have low self-worth. I'm a self-hater, self-loather. I, escape through food or alcohol or drugs, whatever. These are your issues with yourself. You've been dealing with these issues for lifetimes. And I personally don't believe that we've had the ability to really get to the core of these themes until this life. And I believe that's because I don't believe consciousness was high enough. So I don't know if you know all this. I'll just assume you know nothing. And if you know this already, you're ahead of the game. But the Enlightenment age, the golden age, the age of Aquarius, as it's sometimes called, is really because the entire solar system is allegedly, I say alleged because there's no scientific proof of this, this is just what people who are channeling are telling us, is allegedly moving into a photon belt that has photons coming out of the center of the galactic center. All right. And apparently this photon belt sort of awakens dormant frequencies that sort of quiet down if they don't have the photons blowing through them. They start to awaken, and our human consciousness can awaken with this expansion of awareness. And this is what we call the Great Awakening. This is what we call, of course, the new era. This is what we call the Age of Aquarius. And so my point is that for the first time in 26,000 years, it started in 2012. Some people argue 2011, tomato, 11, 12. It doesn't really matter. It started, I look at it as Neptune and Pisces. We started to become aware of other dimensions. First, other dimensions of ourself. And as we go forward now, other dimensions in reality. So from 2012, we've been awakening to other dimensions of ourself. Like, oh, I've got this side of me that's always putting myself down. Oh, I've got this side of me that's always sabotaging. Oh, I've got this side of me that can sometimes feel a little violent. I don't want to act on it, but I feel it coming up. That was us awakening to our past life timelines. I believe that because of the photon expansion, we are starting to awaken to these other dimensions of ourself. Dimensions of yourself literally are other lifetimes. So in the month of Pisces, this is the first time the Saturn has already gone past the first 10 degrees of Pisces. So this year, as the sun illuminates, our heart illuminates the Pisces consciousness, the subconscious consciousness, we've come full circle into understanding where we need to be with ourselves, like how to evolve out of that self-deprecating, karmic, fearful, damaged, traumatized, whatever you want to look at it, how to come out of that wounded part of ourselves. That was Pisces. Then this week leading up, we've come into Aries, and the first decan of Aries is what I call the Migo. It's the internal version of the ego. I think the ego is our external and the Migo is our internal. And the Migo is the survivor part of you that you have been using to survive and relate to this damaged part of you. So everyone's Migo is programmed to sort of, sweep it under the rug, deny that I have a problem, try to, forget my abuse, kind of work around the inner abuse and turmoil that has come to light since 2012. So in essence, catching you all the way up, on Monday of this week, we had a full moon lunar eclipse in Libra at 5 degrees. And what that was a karate chop to the Migo, particularly to the attitude of your Migo, how you have this sort of attitude about yourself. And that attitude could be a label. So maybe the label was, I'm not enough, or I'm a piece of S, or I am, always the last one. I am a loser. I am whatever. It was a damaged I am statement that you treated yourself with. Now, the question is, how hard did the karate chop hit you? I'm wondering, we're going to put out a poll tonight from Noel, our producer, how difficult the karate chop was to you. How difficult was the eclipse to you? Because depending on how difficult the eclipse, I think determines how hard you were holding on to the old Migo. And I will say, Sensei here, it was kind of tough, actually. I was really cranky on Sunday, the day before. I had no patience on Monday. I had tons of body, icky, ooey Tuesday and Wednesday. Here on Friday, I'm finally starting to come out of, the hangover of that eclipse. And did I determine where my mind was? Yeah, I don't think I had a major karate chop as far as an attitude change. I think for me, the attitude change was I stopped doubting because there's so much going on right now, like as far as things manifesting. And for me, the old me was like, oh, I hope it works out. I hope it'll be fine. I hope. And what I realized is, no, it will work out. I'm not even going to go there that something won't work out anymore. I'm not going to entertain that anymore. So that was the evolution that I came up with. So now we are upon April. And April, we are calling the Grand I Am, mobilizing the movement. That is the title of April for my mega monthlies that just went on. The birth of the Grand I Am is the theme of this week and is the theme of the entire month. And what I mean by this, and I'm going to talk deep for a few minutes and then we'll get into the actual planets, is now that you have eliminated the part of you that says, I'm not enough, which is what it basically was. I'm not wealthy enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not smart enough. I'm not. So I think the old Migo was about I'm not. We karate chop the I'm not. And now that leaves us for the big Grand I Am. And with my clients and my coaching clients, I have been having us all come up with a Grand I Am statement for April, because I believe what's going to happen is we're going to get on top of the world and we're going to feel like we are this Grand I Am. There it is. Thank you very much, Sarah. Sort of the superhero in you is coming out energetically. And this Grand I Am statement is who you were born to be, is the story you were born to live, this massive I Am statement. It's also, I have to say, your role in the new era. I believe we all play a role in this enlightenment of the planet. You wouldn't even be here right now. You would have probably died by now if you weren't supposed to be here. A lot of people who are prematurely going don't want to be in this fight, or they want to reincarnate after it's already complete. But this grand I am is the personality, the character you came to be in this magical moment. Now, in most cases, you already are on this path. Obviously, a lot of who you see right here is part of the grand I am. I have some new features coming out. I have some new special things coming out, showing parts of myself I haven't shown yet. But for the most part, I feel I know most of the grand I am. But April will be about really coming into this character that you want to become. And with Venus crossing Neptune this week, which I'll talk about, you're also going to recognize what your destiny is to be fulfilled. And so you have the destiny fulfilled makes the grand I am. So what you intend to manifest, your golden egg project, whatever that turns you into this grand I am statement. The subplot of the month is mobilizing the movement. So through the course of this month, we will mobilize the movement in April. That means that we will figure out how it is we're going to get moving with this grand I am intention. And so this brings me to the Mercury retrograde that starts on Monday. This Mercury retrograde goes from step 27 Aries. 27 Aries is the grand I am. I am that I am. Okay. And so Mercury goes, okay, as of Monday, okay, I am this. This is my grand I am. And then Mercury will retrograde all the way back to 15 degrees Aries. I'm going here in the center as me is 15, and conjoin the North Node on April 25th. And at that point, Mercury will say, okay, I surrender to the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is the mobilization of the movement. The movement must be the path of least resistance. And I'll explain that in just a moment. So as we start with the grand I am, the Mercury retrograde is basically saying, okay, if I'm the next Oprah Winfrey, if I'm the first one to bring this to the world, if I am going to help women come into their divine feminine power, if the grand I am is I am the leader of the new era for women, or I am the leader of championing children's rights, or my grand I am as I am the inventor of a technology that provides free energy to the world, that's my grand I am. How do I need to reorchestrate and rewire how I behave when it comes to the future, when it comes to daily life, the activities, the responses, the behavior, the actions, and everything that I do? So the Mercury retrograde is taking us from the grand I am statement and slow rolling backwards, how we have to reconsider, if I'm the next Oprah, then oh, hell no, I'm not doing dishes. If I'm the inventor of free energy, then oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. So we're going to reactivate. We're going to disengage a tremendous amount of behavior that was all based on covering up for the old Migo. So the old Migo that didn't think you were enough was overcompensating in your daily life. Your ego was overcompensating to make up for your diseased Migo, your trauma Migo, your pain body Migo. Now that Migo has gone, we are in a place where we can now re-examine, and I think that's what this is, re-examine all of the things that we do in daily life and everything we commit to be rewired to actually be all acting in the favor of the grand I am statement, and to disengage all the ego overcompensation we were doing to make up for our pain body Migo. Does that make sense? So it's kind of interesting. Aries is the big, let's get done. Let's do it. Let's rah. Let's move forward. It's spring. People are all, bunnies are out doing what bunnies do, making more bunnies. Flowers are starting to bloom. April showers are nourishing the earth so that we can have May flowers. And usually it's a very active April, but this April will not be so active because we're going to be so introverted, reconsidering the actions that we should take. So technically, it'll be a somewhat quiet April in comparison to others. Adding to the fact, Mars is in Pisces. And I was just saying this on a webinar I had recently called Activating Miracles, which is available, by the way, for people who want to purchase it. I'll talk about that at the end of the show. But with Mars in Pisces this month, oh, thank you, Sarah. With Mars in Pisces this month, most of the forward motion that you're doing is not in the world, it's in your spiritual life. So we're getting a strong green light to go forward in your daily life according to spiritual principles, but a yellow hold on a minute when it comes to activating things in your outer life. And yes, this is on the screen now, Activating Miracles. It's a webinar I just did that will walk you through the whole month of April. And I do a lecture on how to manifest miracles. No shift. I have the formula. It's in this particular webinar. So it's going to be a quiet April because we're really going to be kind of zen and inside of ourselves. And basically, we're going to be rebirthing ourselves. And this all epicenters on the solar eclipse, which is on April 8th. I'm sure you've heard of it. For whatever reason, the federal government and local governments are all doing all sorts of warnings about it. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I know. Sandy Flo, thank you. There's a lot of disruption on Oprah. Exactly. The title Oprah had is what we're talking about. We're not talking about what Oprah does in her private life. Okay. Just for the record, just want to say that, not endorsing whatever she does in her private life, but in her talk show, it was very empowering for women for years. So that said, I think we have to learn how to draw boundaries, between people's sins and people's contributions to humankind, because it's a mess right now. So the epicenter of stepping into this grand I am is really the solar eclipse. It is the solar eclipse on April 8th. It's at 19 degrees. This solar eclipse is going to be you could say the ribbon cutting ceremony or the bottle breaking on the ship, the christening of this new grand I am that you are becoming. And this solar eclipse, which we'll get deep on it next week, is the sun at 19 degrees, the moon at 19 degrees, and Chiron at 19 degrees, and they conjoin exactly at the same degree and minute. The same degree and minute, they are conjoined. I look at this solar eclipse as sort of God bringing a big bottle of disinfectant and spraying the earth. I think that's what it's going to be. It's like a huge spray of light-based healing, all right, infused with Chiron healing that will blast the earth. What my third eye is showing me is that people who have cleared out their cobwebs, who have faced their issues, you don't have to be healed completely, but if you're on the path of your healing, this eclipse is going to accelerate that healing, all right? If you are healed already, in other words, you have 85% over your pain body, I think this eclipse is going to give you superpowers. And I mean that. You're going to feel super. You're going to feel way above and cut above the rest. And I believe that if you have been in denial of your healing, if you've been repressing it, if you have people who are doing too much substance, they're on the border with substance and alcoholism, or they're on the border with addiction, if you have people who are being cruel, if you have people who are cheating others, cheating themselves, I believe this eclipse is going to basically kill off a lot of, let's say, bacteria, which is the dark energy on the earth. The parasites will be pushed back from this eclipse. And so if you want to talk about white hat and dark hat, the dark hats will be disinfected severely by this eclipse and set back severely. So I'm just going to say, and I have no idea who this will be, but if somebody goes down famous, like P. Diddy, for instance, anyone who goes down famous, basically now until the end of April, had a lot of darkness in them. That's what I'm feeling. They had a lot of darkness built up in them because the vibration, the energy is pushing for healing and pushing for the light. That is just my opinion, but that's what I see in the planets. Now, what this does in the year scope is this is where the light takes the lead. So I predict the light takes the lead in the world, what we'll call frequency race. I'm not going to call it a frequency war. I'm going to call it a frequency race. It's a race to the finish. Which frequency can win the race? The high frequencies or the low frequencies? The trebles or the bass? Which is going to end up winning the frequency race? Well, I believe this eclipse is going to blast the high frequency people into the lead. And I believe we will be enjoying that lead through September, at which point I think we'll have a trade wind that comes in and starts to slow us down from energy, and where basically we'll have energy on the earth that's trying to kill off the old. And so that will actually empower the low vibration, that energy, that bacteria boost. So this whole year is really the setting up of coming into our power. and getting ahead on the frequency race. And April is really when you have the switch of power, in my belief. We're going to switch powers where the high frequency light are going to take the lead. This is why it's so important to unite the light in May and come together as the people who are high frequency, because we have to team up, especially before September, when we start having some of the darker eclipses come in that are here to kill off things. Okay. Kill off what is already dying, but some energies feed off of death consciousness. So this month has one more point to it that I'll put out there, and that's on the Great American Smokeout, April 20th. Jupiter and Uranus will conjoin for a supernova sort of conjunction. This supernova conjunction is going to raise the ceiling as to the potency and potential of manifestation. So let's say right now that you had a beautiful, idea for an invention. Right now, that invention would do very well, let's say make $1 billion. But I'm arguing the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction on April 20th is going to raise the potential to 10 billion. So I feel that the earning potential of the light is going to rise on April 20th. So this is a grand I am, a great grand I am with amazing manifest potential. The last time that we had potential like this was really World War II, and we were manifesting like crazy. Do you know how many ships we're putting out an hour in World War II? Do you know how many planes we're putting out a week? Do you know how many missiles we're making? How many bullets we're making? Do you know how productive the entire world was for World War II? It was ridiculous. All right. That same energetic manifestation potency is coming on April 20th. So not only are you grand, not only are you out of your shadow, not only are you boosted by God Universe to be the grand I am that I am, but God Universe is going to basically multiply your manifestation potential to a higher degree. Now, people say God doesn't interfere with free will. Bullshit. This month alone pretty much shows where God is favoring the light. From what I can tell, it's rigged for the light. So next time you say, oh, this is rigged against me, and that's rigged against me, and the political system's rigged against me, and social, welfare is rigged against me. Yeah, but God is rigged for you. The most powerful force there is rigged for you. You've actually got the best chances when you're in the light and when you're in your heart for your ability to go farther and higher. So let's stop falling for those false narratives, and let's get on board with the grand I am and the potential of our manifestation. So that brings us, of course, to this week. As we saw a little earlier, and maybe again now, this week's theme is the birth of the grand I am. So this week is the week that you will birth this new version of yourself. Technically, the birth is on Easter. You can't write this shit. I couldn't believe it, but Easter is when it's born. So we are reborn on Easter. On Easter, we rise again. It's true. It's happening. So someone over there in the Vatican has got an astrologer on their staff because, yes, now I know they base Easter on the moon prior to Easter. So really it was this eclipse that set up the Easter on this Sunday. And lo and behold, indeed, that's the case. This week, you are birthing your vision of what this grand I am is. And I'll just tell you that the vision is just an idea at first. Okay. So it's just an idea. I am going to become, I am becoming. And the more you say I am, the more it actually becomes, just for the record. So the more you say it, the more it becomes true and valid. This week, the sun goes from 10 degrees tomorrow on Saturday to 16 degrees, which is a spiritual degree, on Friday, April 5th. So from that range of 10 to 16, the 10 is the birth, the 11 is the finale of that, Easter. Then on Monday, we start to look at our life. So the theme of the week after this birth of the grand I am is to take a look at your life and realize that it's not up to par with your potential. And with Mercury retrograde on Monday, we start to then rethink like, well, if I am this grand I am, well, then I cannot keep this sort of behavior. I can't keep giving my energy to that. I can't keep sacrificing myself for this. A lot of things that are changing is that South Node in Libra is saying that we're going to really drift apart this month because of the fact that there are people who are going to stand in the grand I am, and there are people who are not ready to own how grand they are. They just don't see their inner greatness. They don't recognize themselves as a child of God. They're still in the fantasy that this world is not a fantasy. That's paradoxical. So you're going to start to see this week that some things are compatible with you and some things aren't. Some people are going to be with you along the grand I am. Some people aren't. Some vendors you're going to use, some vendors you're not. So basically who you work with, who you do business with, who you live by, all this starts to get stirred up. Tuesdays when we have a major eye opener. So Tuesday on step 13 is the day when you go, okay, I'm in denial. This is not working anymore. So probably the difficult day of the week is Tuesday. Things that break down on Tuesday were meant to break down to reveal to you that they're not ready to ride this ride. They're not tall enough to be on the team right now. That doesn't mean they won't in the future, by the way. Some people are late bloomers. Some people got to see other people do it before they do it. So we're not here to judge our fellow human beings. Everyone has a right to do whatever they want in the big carnival of life. They don't have to go on to the same attractions as us. They don't have to do it the same time as us. They can do it anytime they want. So I'll be putting out the message of love and unity is still the main principle. It's just some people are going to go on some attractions and some people are not. But Tuesday, you realize how you need to grow your life, your daily life to a higher level for you to be able to take this vision to the next level. On Wednesday, you have clarity where Venus conjoins Neptune on Wednesday. So Wednesday, a light bulb goes off, aha moment goes off, where you recognize that your spiritual mission is bigger than you. And so up until now, we haven't been able to see our spiritual mission being bigger than us because we were so obsessed with our pain body. Now that we have passed on our pain body and we now see ourselves as healed, our mission now is much bigger than we realize. That it involves more than we've ever thought that it would involve. So Wednesday is a very clarifying day. On hump day, Thursday, you sort of accept the mission. On Thursday, the sun conjoins the north node at 15 degrees Aries. That is the path of least resistance. And so that is ultimately the second theme of this week is, finding the path of least resistance. Now, the path of least resistance is important for a couple of reasons. A lot of people don't understand what that means. What it means is the path where you and the world are resisting it the least. Okay. So if I said to you, hey, let's go out in the garage right now and clean out the whole garage, you might resist that idea. That's not the path of least resistance. Okay. If you resist it, go, oh, I don't know. That's not the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is, sure, I can do that. Sure, not a problem. And everyone else is like, sure, not a problem. So there's no one resisting. All right. Now, sometimes those of us who are light workers actually add on more resistance because we think we're scoring extra credit with God or something. A lot of these people are Virgos. Virgos have a habit of adding on work, and Virgo risings do this too, where it's like you go to clean the garage and your plan was, I'm just going to sweep the garage out, get all the cobwebs out. And you get in there and you're like, oh, but I could actually organize those boxes, and I can also clean out all those Christmas decorations up there. And, I haven't been through this trunk since I was 25. Maybe I should clean out this trunk. That's not the path of least resistance. All right. You've just created resistance. You were going to go in and sweep out the garage and just maybe get the bookshelves in order. And instead you added all this extra stuff on top of it. I'm telling you, as part of your assembly of your board of directors, this is not the time to add labor or add tasks to the task, because remember what I said, the light is going to gain the lead here between now and September. If you add on stuff that no one cares about, including God could care less if your garage is clean. God could care less about all those details. If you add on more than is necessary to get the job done, you'll be left behind. We're in a moment in time, a special space-time moment where we have to focus on the goal, only the goal, and the path of least resistance. I'm going to take a sip here. And the path of least resistance only. So, so you recognize the path of least resistance on Wednesday. Now, if you want to do a deep cleaning of your garage, November. In November, we're going to have Mars retrograde. Life's going to come to a standstill. There'll be plenty of time to kill. There'll be no race to be had. The contest will be on hold or hiatus. So plan on doing that deep cleaning in November. There'll be plenty of energy and time for that, just for the record. Then Friday, we hit step 16. And step 16 is the step where we sort of open our heart and say, okay, I surrender. I surrender to this path. I surrender to this altitude that I'll be flying my daily life. I surrender to the way I'm going to approach the great I am. And so by next week, this time, I predict that you have reorganized the strategy for how you intend to do all this. There, we learned to find the pause button. All right, so that is the week. Now, the key question of the week is, who's with me? Who's with me? Who's with me at Unite the Light? Who's with me to clean the garage? Who's with me on this grand I am? I'm this grand this. What are you grand of? Are you with me? Are you with me? That's really the question. So basically this week we start to team up. And I believe that we're going to continue to team up as we move through this season. One of our themes at Unite the Light is collaboration is the new cash. We believe collaboration is the new cash. This is the way people are going to make money, is by me helping you and you helping me and us coming together. And together, when two or one gather in my name, va-boom, it is more powerful than it's ever been in the past. So I believe this is the time to collaborate. So part of this is figuring out who's with us and who's not with us. And again, if people are not with us, it's okay. We'll see them at the next round, or we'll see them at the finish line, or we'll see them in the next life. Let's not take that too seriously. Let's not get caught up too much in those ideas. So let's take a look at the planets. We'll start first with, of course, the energy of Aries. In the sign of Aries, as I mentioned, the sun this week moves from step 10 to step 16. And like I said, that's going to be from I manifest to my heart opens, my heart surrenders to this path. So we manifest the new lifestyle, the new grand I am statement, and then we get to the end of the week and we surrender. We give it to God. We give it to the universe. Mercury, as I mentioned, starts at step 27 this week and moves to step 26. That's it, from 27 to 26. And so what that means is you are basically identifying the grand I am statement here with Mercury at 27. And then at 26, you then commit to the grand I am statement. So basically your mind is going to go, I'm aiming for this and I'm committed to get there. We have Chiron this week, which is pretty phenomenal, moves to step 19 on Monday, which is just like, can you, my goddess. So 19 is the return of the champion. And what we're calling that solar eclipse in our group at SiriusJoy is the champion's recovery. We believe that the champions went down around COVID. So a lot of people who are here to champion the earth, COVID and the whole thing with COVID pulled them back down to go inward for 4 years. So I believe that a lot of the light workers have been completely inward for 4 years now. That eclipse, which will be on 19 degrees the next Monday, a week from this Monday, is, in our opinion, the restoration or the recovery of the champion. The champion will be back. So we'll talk more about that. But we basically move to holding space for the return of that champion as of this Monday when Chiron goes to 19 degrees. And then we have the North Node at 15. 15 Aries is the path of least resistance. I don't have the notes here from my one of my partners, Robbie, but I think that the North Node at 15 was like at 97 days or something like that, at how long it's going to be. So God is really pushing this path of least resistance thing. Not to mention the path of least resistance means you're not fighting with people. You're not caught up in arguments. You're not getting caught up in conflict. So Another thing that God is saying is now is not the time to be in a conflict. Cast your vote and walk away from the poll. Don't get caught up on trying to convince other people to believe what you believe in or to do the things that you do. Right now, it's more about show than it is about tell. So part of the path of least resistance is don't stop to talk somebody into your religion. Don't slow down to explain that you're right and someone's wrong. Don't get caught in any petty conflicts right now. At this point, you're better off saying, fine, you win, I lose. Let's just get moving. It's no use to prove a point. It's no use to get ahead. It's no use to conflict. Thank you. Actually, Robbie just posted for me. It is 97 days until May 12th that the North Node is going to be at 15 degrees. Yay, Robbie, for listening. I appreciate that. So basically, the party is on. Mercury moving backwards, the sun moving forward, Chiron in its solar eclipse place, and the North Node at 15 degrees, where it will stay until May 12th. Good to know. Then we have, of course, Pisces. Now, in Pisces, we got a lot going on. We still have Mars. Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, and Mars is hanging out in Pisces, which means that we're not meant to make any real progress in Aries. We're meant to progress in Pisces. We're meant to implement our spiritual vision. So through the month of April, we're implementing our spiritual vision. This month, we're implementing our spiritual vision for ourselves and the new spiritual story with ourselves. So it's time to act on those things with yourself. If you're not a loser, act like it. If you've healed your self-worth, act like it. If you're walking away from your pain body, act like it. It's time to act like it. Okay. And you can't fool Mother Nature and you can't fool God either. The universe knows if you really are doing it or not doing it. So I think that I really personally think that what separates the leaders from the followers are the ones who are going to actually show up and do the work. Get up at 4 a.m., meditate, start your diet, go to the gym, do all the things you promised yourself. Those are the things that will separate you from the rest. The one thing about the new era is there are no fakers. You can't fake it. We're not going to follow any leaders who aren't actually doing what they say. So gone are the fakers, gone are the masks, gone are the people who have, Botoxed all to unreality, but they haven't done anything in their spiritual work. Nothing wrong with Botox. I'm just saying, if you don't do the inner work, you're not going to be followed. Now, Venus this week goes from step 23 all the way to 0 Aries. In fact, she moves to Aries on Friday, at which point tough love will take over. So definitely open up. Venus is saying it's time to open up to our spiritual mission. And as I mentioned, Venus will conjoin Neptune down here on the bottom rung. That will happen on Wednesday, hump day, of course, at step 28, because Neptune moves to step 28 on Wednesday. So Neptune goes to 28 and Venus kisses Neptune. If you've been watching me for a long while, you know that whenever a planet is escorted by another planet to another degree, it means twice as much. It does mean that it's now time to manifest your spiritual destiny. This is a green light. So if you know you are destined to be the father of the bride, or you are destined to be the one that steals the show, or the one that shows us how to do this or shows us how to do that, it's now time. Wednesday says it's time. You're waiting for a sign from the universe. It's time. Okay. Like, this is it. Now, what that means is you get started in principle. I wouldn't necessarily break ground until Mercury is direct, but it is time. And then Saturn is at step 13 as we start this week and goes to step 14 on Thursday. So interestingly enough, when the sun crosses the North Node on Thursday and says path of least resistance, Saturn goes to 14, which means we will then be able to shape and get our mind around what that spiritual mission means in the moment. Saturn at 14 does mean that we know exactly what we need to do to clean up the spiritual karma in our life. You cannot claim ignorance. Like, I don't know how to get my life better. I don't know how to make things brighter. No, Saturn says, you know. You might deny, but you know. So this whole array is really what's going on in the background of the sun in Aries. It's this strong spirit of divine masculinity, divine femininity, control and authority, higher spiritual connection to God. This energy matrix is what allows you to be the grand I am that I am. All right. And so that story is continuing to move forward. Now, looking at the moons for the week, right now we're in glorious. I think we're in Sagittarius now because I'm feeling pretty good right now. And I love Sagittarius energy. It's my favorite. Today and tomorrow and Sunday, we are Sagittarius. We are basically rewriting our story. We're realizing I'm not the loser. I'm not the one left behind. I'm not the one that failed again. I'm the grand I am. I'm the greatest in the world. What did Muhammad Ali used to say? Flies like a bird and stings like a bee. Yeah, that's a grand I am statement. Flies like a bird and stings like a bee. So we're going to re-architect our story of what this means. We're going to realize, oh, my biography is not what I thought it was. So we're going to feel through a new biography. Again, you can't write this shift. The moon crosses the galactic center on Easter, which again is another sign of rebirth and the resurrection of Christ consciousness. And I do believe Christ consciousness is a real thing for all people. And I do believe it is returning to the earth, I believe, through the light, because Christ consciousness is creation energy, basically. Then what happens is when Mercury hits retrograde or Mercury goes retrograde, as I like to say, the moon gets into Capricorn. And so Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are pretty serious. I think we're going to be cold. We're going to be able to see the world. Float like a butterfly. Okay, thank you for the correction. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Hey, that's pretty impressive that I can remember a quote from my childhood from a celebrity watching TV on the old color vision. But Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is going to be pretty serious because you're going to be looking around your life and going, okay, this is not the life of the grand I am. I can't be live like this. I can't live like that. And so there's a lot of decision making, I think, with the moon in Capricorn. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's all about business. And of course, on Wednesday, we have the sun conjoin, Venus conjoin Neptune. So we accept our mission from God. We accept our destiny, which is great. And then the moon goes into Aquarius. The moon goes into Aquarius actually goes into Tuesday. So I think that's something messed up here a little bit. Something a little messed up here in my notes. It goes into Aquarius early Wednesday and stays until early Thursday. So yeah, a little interesting here. The moon's in a different thing. But basically Wednesday and Thursday, moon in Aquarius. So you realize Wednesday and Thursday, okay, this is where I belong in life. This is where my life belongs. So you're very serious in the beginning of the week, and then you're sort of detached and looking at the big picture through the middle of the week. And then by the time we get to Friday, the moon now moves into Pisces, and it's now preparing, of course, for the grand solar eclipse on Monday. So the moon comes to Pisces, and we realize, okay, I am not the person I was born as. I am not the person I was as a child. I am not the person I was as a teenager, in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s. I have changed now. And that's the birth, the emotional birth of the grand I am. So we come back next Friday. Not only is the sun 16 degrees, net 7, spiritual day, but the moon's in Pisces, net 7, spiritual emotions as well. Going over to Aquarius, we still have Pluto rocking it at step 1 Aquarius. This does mean it's time to protect self-love, and it's time to raise the self-love. So you are only grand because you love yourself and love yourself some more. Love yourself and love yourself some more. This is a year where we're just going to row down the river of love, and we're going to keep loving ourselves and loving ourselves some more. And we're not going to stop. All right. We're going to have so much love. We're going to have love pouring out of our eyes. We're going to be having sparkles. We're going to walk on water. Yes. We're going to do all of it by loving ourselves highly. So you can't pull this shift off if you're not loving yourself and protecting it. Protecting it means you don't talk yourself out of it. You don't let someone else talk yourself out of it. You don't stop even when you're tired. You just keep doing it. All right. It's raising the vibration. In Virgo, we have Black Moon Lilith going from 19 to 20 degrees. And 19 is actually the degree of where Chiron goes. So Black Moon Lilith going from 19 to 20 moves to 20 on Sunday. This means that we have faced all of our fears around manifesting a new daily life. So we've manifested a new daily life, and Black Moon Lilith going to 20 means our fear now goes to the future working out all right. And if the fear goes to the future working out all right, that means that we're no longer afraid about the present. And if we're not afraid about the present, then we certainly will have the future work out, because by mastering the present, you have an automated mastery of the future. The present is the future. It's the pre-sent, what we plan to send, right? And then finally, Taurus, a lot of activity going on in the manifestation planets. Uranus moving for the first time in weeks. First, Jupiter. Jupiter goes from 17 to 18 degrees Taurus. Yay, that's my sun. So I'm going to just be showing up probably transparent and translucent next week. I'm just going to be floating in. I'm just going to float in like a zoo off the Flintstones and just pop in with my new magic on Earth 3. But Jupiter at 17 does say, hey, it's time to commit to the manifestations that you want to have happen in your daily life. Now that, of course, Jupiter at 17, commit to the manifestations you want in your daily life. It moves to 18 on Wednesday. So basically, you're committing to the life you want. On Wednesday, you are acting to create the life you want. By the way, Jupiter in this space does mean that you will get everything you want. It's Jupiter in Taurus, okay? The problem with Jupiter in Taurus is you have too many offers, and you have to turn some stuff down to focus on what's important. That's the hard part. So we do go to 18 degrees on Wednesday, and then Uranus goes to 21 degrees on Wednesday also. So Jupiter and Uranus, they both move to the next degree on the same day. Not only on the same day, but Jupiter and Uranus move to up a degree on the day that Venus conjoins Neptune, and you accept your destiny. So this is what amazes me about the degrees. And this is what amazes me about other astrologers don't watch the degrees, because the timing is impeccable. So you mean to tell me that the day I sign on the dotted line for my destiny, like, yes, this is my destiny, Jupiter and Uranus goes, make it so. And they move to the next degree. Jupiter saying, okay, let's move into action and spend some money. Uranus goes to 21 and says, okay, unlimited possibilities as far as manifestation. So putting this in a more simple context, by you agreeing to your destiny, you instantly move manifestation forward and begin to manifest intently. This is not your average Pisces Aries transit, because of Jupiter and Uranus will sign the check. They will make it happen. And I'll just say right now, a lot of people have written to me and said, I don't know if I can make it. I can't afford the Unite the Light event. And I say the same thing. Are you kidding me? Jupiter's in Taurus. If you can't manifest that ticket right now, then you've got some deep manifestation issues going on, my friend, because right now Jupiter is signing the check for just about everything. I don't feel like you tried, to be honest. And this isn't shaming. This is, come on, let's make our powers work. We can do this. And by the way, we're spending all the money on this thing back on this thing. Okay, just so you know. So I can manifest my own money with Jupiter and Taurus. My point is, don't let money hold you back from anything when Jupiter is in Taurus. There's just no need. Forget my event, anything you want, a car, a house, anything. You've got till the end of May. Make it happen and get going on it already. I am living proof that this shift actually works. And then Uranus is going to double your money. Once Uranus gets to 22 at the end of the month, that means things are going to go wild. I predict Bitcoin is just going to keep skyrocketing, by the way. A lot of people have said to me, are we going to have economic problems this year? Do you see an economic breakdown? No, I don't. For one, if the stock market was actually valid, it isn't. I think it's actually manipulated by all sorts of different, computer trading and all sorts of stuff. So the stock market, I don't have any proof of this. Just so my guides tell me, it's not a legitimate, fair economy. It's got a lot of unfair things going on. But even so, I think the people who run the world don't want it to come down now before an election year. So the ones who have control will prop it up just for that reason. But then even if there wasn't control, let's say it was all like a blockchain, stock market, these two people right here, Sir Jupiter and Madam Uranus, these two are going to push our manifestation through the roof. We're going to be abundant through September is my prediction. So take advantage of it right now. Take advantage. All right, let's take a look at a couple of the planets. Love you too. Someone said I love you, but I don't see who it was. But I love you back too. I saw that. Like my heart was like, oh. All right, let's do a little screen share and show the planets. Wonka, 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 wonka. All right, coming up for Astro Mingle. I just love this name, Brittney Carmichael. I don't know. That's a great name. She's a women's empowerment coach. She's a speaker, a psychic medium, a founder of the Shine School, co-founder of Elevated Life. Like, She's on fire. She is a Libra and she will be our guest. Also, I want to point out the golden mega address is now live on SiriusJoy.com. This address is about 2 hours where I go over the entire month ahead. Plus, I also have an interviewee at the end where I talk about their business and what they want to manifest. And of course, the mega monthly individual scopes will go live on Monday, April Fool's Day. And I'm not fooling about that. So the first thing I want to look at here is just how the week starts. Again, the grand I am is manifesting on Saturday at step 10. Remember, I said the moon is in Sagittarius. So that means that ultimately what we are doing is we are replaying our story as we also at the same time manifest our new MIGO. Neptune, you can see here, is at 27 degrees. So it's all green lights to go forward with our healing and go forward with our destiny. Mercury at 26 saying you are committing. 26, 27 is the grand I am. So you're starting to commit to the grand I am. Then we have, of course, on Sunday, Mercury hits 27. That is the grand I am. The sun comes into integrity. I love myself and love myself some more. In essence, this is the resurrection of Christ consciousness. Literally, you are the embodiment of that energy and you have awakened with the grand I am. Then we have, of course, Mercury is retrograde. Mercury retrogrades. It's not shown here. I showed down 59 seconds at 6:14 p.m. on Monday. That does mean you have all of Monday to get things filed, taxes, business, things like that, until about 6 p.m. when Mercury retrogrades. Ultimately, you are coming up with the grand I am. And as soon as we come up with that grand I am, step 12, the sun says, okay, it's time to look at my life differently because I am this now grand I am person. Look at Venus and Neptune. Venus is committing to the spiritual mission. Mercury is committing to the character. These are semi-sextiling, even though it looks like it's in Taurus, it's really in Aries because I got a more in Aries in here. But ultimately what this means is, it means that you know the mission, and Neptune's on the mission. You know the mission and you know the person you're meant to be for that mission. They are intimately connected here, as you can see. All right. Then we get to Tuesday, and I bring up Tuesday because Tuesday is a shit show. This is where you will, step 13, there will be breakdowns. So basically, people who are not tall enough to ride this ride will have an issue and might need a tissue. Notice Saturn's at 13 also, semi-sextiling the sun. So this is basically a timeline shift right here between the sun and Saturn. This timeline shift, and here's the sun, here's Saturn. I'm using the other monitor. That's kind of cool. Okay. This timeline shift actually is going to end up probably being something dramatic because the ego might try to hold on to the old timeline. So remember, path of least resistance, just let it go. If something starts collapsing, let it go. Get off the boat, save yourself, and move on. Come Wednesday, hump day, this is when the sun will cross the north. Actually, no, this is when Venus will cross actually Neptune, and it happens later in the day. You can see the day starts with the 27. Then by around 9:10 a.m., Neptune and Venus are conjoined. This basically on Wednesday is the day when you go, okay, that's it. I accept what my spiritual mission is. I am the grand I am that I am, and this is my mission. So you basically figure out your life purpose in 1 week. This is also the day, remember I said that Jupiter and Uranus both move up to a degree later on. They both go to 18. So it's pretty, the message is heard. Then, of course, on Thursday, we have the sun conjuncts the North Node in Aries at 15 degrees. This is the path of least resistance. Interestingly enough, Venus is at 29 degrees. So as we're basically going to be tested on Thursday, you're going to be tested on whether or not your spiritual mission can actually unfold the way you want. And that's going to probably be what encourages you to take the path of least resistance. So you might be somewhat forced in the path of least resistance is the total area there. And then we end next Friday. And as I mentioned, next Friday, we're at step 16 and Venus moves into Aries. So that will be the birth of tough love. And what that means is, as the moon crosses Mars, which is like this huge amp of like, I've got to do this. Let's do this. Venus moves into Aries, and that's suddenly the tough love. That's divine feminine with a strong masculine push comes in. So you're going to have plenty of energy from the universe really to pull this off. You just have to make the initiative and do it. All right. So that leads me to our tea time. It's now time to talk about the 12 signs and how it'll affect you. Go steep yourself some tea and let's have our tea time. Hello and welcome to Tea Time. This is the part of the show where I give horoscopes for all 12 signs, just so you all know. And I did bring some water. In fact, I don't know if y'all have seen this. This is something I just picked up. This is a hydrogen water generator. And no, I don't have any sponsors. And yes, if you sell hydrogen water, I could be your sponsor or you could be my sponsor. But this is great. Do some research. I've been doing research on hydrogen water. There's these systems that will actually put hydrogen in the water. That extra hydrogen molecule allegedly helps you with oxide. So free radical oxygen bouncing off your body, making you old. Apparently hydrogen water helps that. Also, the idea of indigestion, somehow hydrogen water helps with digestion. And apparently there are certain parasites in the gut that are necessary for digestion that hydrogen actually boosts the growth of, which is an anti-glyphosate situation. If you know glyphosate, it's basically killing off all of our gut bacteria. It's sprayed on all crops in America, even some labeled organic. And so to some degree, this helps with some of the damage done from glyphosate. Super interesting. I also like, it has hydrogen bubbles in it, but it's not like bubbly when you drink it. But it does have a very specific taste. I have to say, I can taste that extra hydrogen molecule. I swear. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, there are good ones. There are bad ones. Do your research. I mean, I don't know. And as soon as you take the cap off, the hydrogen starts to escape. But yeah, you can buy hydrogen water bottled. And I've seen like TikTok tests where they test it. And the containers that make it, the hydrogen blows off really fast. The bottles, like champagne kind of bottles with it, it lasts a little longer, and the pH is higher in the bottle than they are in this one. Pretty cool, but definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. I'll let you know. As I get remarkably youthful and more handsome on camera, you'll know it was the hydrogen water. I'm just saying. Okay, so I love the color too. Anything blue, blue water, I'm down. Yes, let's drink blue water. I'm totally down to drink blue water. Yes. Okay, so where we go here? Stop it. My stupid computer is being temperamental. All right, so let's go to our notes. So this week for your horoscopes, I'm going to talk about 4 areas of your chart. One is the sun. So the sun this week is going to be exploring through the second decan of Aries. So basically what you are doing is you are exploring a new life. And you're exploring life with the concept of the grand I am, that you are now becoming this grand I am. And so because of this grand I am, you don't do windows, you don't do dishes, you no longer mow your own lawn. And I'm not saying that we're all supposed to be like these, landlords, so to speak. I mean, there are people who love mowing lawns, who love driving that thing around. Let them do it. I'm a grand I am here to do something else. And by the way, I mowed lawns for years and years and years. I actually love mowing the lawn, strangely enough. So if I retire, I'm going to be that old man on the street, like mowing lawns for other ladies or something on the street. That's what I'll be doing. But my point is that your life has to change now that you're becoming this grand I am. All right. So it's time to step into this new way of being. I'll talk about for all 12 signs, where does that way of being actually happen? Then we'll be talking about the Earth this week. The Earth conjoins the South Node in Libra, which means we are releasing old relationships, expired relationships. We're releasing unions that don't belong. We're leaving certain teams to join other teams. So we'll talk about for all 12 signs. I'll never retire. I'll be mowing lawns until they find me dead on the tractor. I'll be basically talking about for all 12 signs where you are letting go of certain relationships and you are also letting in new relationships. Then we'll talk Mercury retrograde, or as I like to say, Mercury retrograde. I'll talk about what the scale of consciousness Mercury is going to have you rewrite for all 12 signs. And then I will talk about Venus conjoining Neptune and where you are accepting your new destiny from God consciousness. All right. And we are starting with the Aries. Aries are, it is now time to change your daily behavior. It's time for Aries to act differently, to act appropriately, if you will, and change the way you respond, what you do, your tasks. So when I make jokes about mowing the lawn, I'm talking to you, Aries. It really is about you. You have to change what you do and what you don't do. This does mean that to some degree you are an enabler because you're so strong and you are the first one on the board. You tend to enable other people by sharing your strength. So you are being called by God to pull back on some of that shift and get on the path of what your heart wants, because I think you are enabling some people to stay stuck. Just saying. It's that hero complex. You're getting over it slowly. Now, you literally, with the Earth crossing the South Node in Libra, are leaving relationships. Aries are going to be quitting, breaking up, signing off, retiring, leaving teams such as leaving work teams, leaving sports teams. You might even be leaving your favorite sports team. You are stepping away from relationship contracts that do not serve you, and you are now creating new relationship contracts in your life. Mercury retrograde goes from your character to your behavior. And so when it comes to your behavior in your work, you will state the grand I am, which is a character you will be. So you are going to be a grand character of sorts, and you are going to think about, okay, how do I retroactive and change what I do and don't do? Basically rewriting the assignments you sign up for, the long-term action plans that you sign up for. You're going to rewrite those, and you're going to finally come to, by the end on April 25th, a path of least resistance, which is the behavior and the actions that are the least resistance. So Aries, you are being called to stand down on hard work, on pushing. This is not a time to push, Aries. This is the time to glide. If you can't glide, you're on the wrong path. Don't worry, you'll get to push again in the fall, but not till the fall. Not if you want to get far ahead and pass up all the traffic on the spiritual freeway. You got to take the path of least resistance and just, you could lift the weight, but just because you could doesn't mean you should. And then the Venus conjunction that you are having is literally with your letter to God. What did you promise God? And you did make a promise. You haven't remembered the whole time you've been down, but you did make a promise. And so there is a promise that you would be someone and be somewhere at a certain time. And so I believe that when Venus conjoins Neptune on Wednesday, you're going to realize that you have a mission that it's time for you to do. All right. Now for some hydrogen water. Excellent. Taurus, you are innovating your spirituality this week. And I think for me, I can just speak for me, that Tauruses, which are the master builders, for me, this has been a reminder that God is with me, because I tend to get all out there and get my hands in the dirt and start, planting things and making things. And I know a few Tauruses that I'm in concert with right now. We're all trying to manifest big things. And I know that we're all having that moment where we're going, oh, shift, is this really going to happen? Because I have bitten off a lot here. A lot of Tauruses have bitten off a lot. So I feel like that you have this grand I am statement, and your grand I am statement has to do with who you are with God. Like, you have a certain alignment with God, just like the Aries do. Everyone does. But your grand I am is that you are special. You are special. So because you are special, you've really got to look at your daily life and how much you take steps with faith, that you are stepping with faith because you are special. Now, you may ask, isn't everyone special? Yes, everyone is special, but you're not special till you realize you're special. That's how God works. You've got to realize it on your own. God won't tell you. But then when you realize, wow, how can I be special and everyone else is special? That's an algorithm that only God understands, but apparently it's true. So everyone is special. So the Tauruses are rerouting their spirituality to accept the fact that they are special. that they are blessed, that they have special powers to help them in their life. So I think that is the new exploration of life. Now, the Earth in Libra says that you are going to let go of some relationships to daily routines. Tauruses, you make these routines and rituals. You live by rituals. Some of these rituals are holding back your growth. I'm talking to myself here. You know what we're talking about with Techie. You know it. And so some of these rituals actually keep things from going farther than they need to be. So it's time to let go of some rituals that you insist upon and reinvent these rituals. You're also letting go of some relationships to coworkers. You're letting go of relationships to vendors. You're letting go of relationships to different, like even I have, we're changing some of our software providers at SiriusJoy. We're going to use different providers. We've been around for 8 years. We're going to use a new provider, for instance, for our video storage and our video streaming. We've been the same one for 8 years. Why now? I joke with my partner, Eben, who's a Taurus. I'm like, it's because Neptune, it's because the South Node is in Libra. And he's just like, what? Mercury's in my Gatorade? But that's the truth. So we're stepping away from work relationships and we're stepping away from daily routines that don't serve us. The God I am statement, or the grand I am statement, is with God for Tauruses. So your grand I am is, who are you with God? You are special. And then you're going to rework, well, if I'm special, then all these things that I question about my faith have to be changed. So this is a month of building new faith for Tauruses based on this new relationship to God. And the Venus-Neptune conjunction means you have a social mission, a social ambition mission that you, oh, that's good. Ambition mission. I like that. You have this social ambition mission. You are here to be someone, somewhere, sometime in the collective consciousness right now. You are the builders and the master builders of the new era. So you're going to download a mission that you have, affirmation of the mission, or extra ideas of the mission on Thursday. Excellent. All right. Some new hydrogen water. And then the next one. Ambition mission. Geminis, you are going to be re-architecting your social connection. So who you are in the world, how you're known, your handle, your login, your username, your social media, who you talk to, who you don't talk to. This is all being reworked because your grand I am is tied to a social ambition. Your grand I am is tied to a social ambition. You are here to be somebody in the world. And no, you are not that person now. So if you email me and my customer service team and say, is it possible that I already am what I'm meant to be? No, you are not. Okay. What you are now is maybe a beta test, maybe a fraction of what's possible, but we ain't seen nothing yet from the Geminis. They're about to come out and come strong in the summer of love. So all of your connections have to be rerouted around your new VIP status, your new first class status, your new role that you are playing for the world. That's the grand I am. You have a new role in the world. Now, the South Node in Libra, I went blank there. I tell you, Mercury retrograde starting to infiltrate my brain. I'm starting to feel Mercury retrograde. You are going to have to let go of something you love. Now, that might be that you love vaping. That might be that you love wine. That might be that you love stuff that's not healthy for you. So that'd be the easiest. It might be a love relationship that's not serving you, that you've just compromised yourself on, and that you have been, trying to distract yourself of not being happy. And I'm not trying to destroy love here. I'm actually trying to promote it, but you are moving away from things you don't love, people you don't love, projects you don't love, relationships you don't love. Geminis are moving on. So I give you full credit to do that. The Mercury retrograde is that you're going to find the grand I am is that you have this new social ambition. And because you are this person in the world, you start backing up and you start realizing that all of your activities, what you do in the world, when you do it, who you're with, all this has to be reworked because of this new grand I am of who you are in the world. And Venus conjoining Neptune says that you have a spiritual mission for your career and legacy. And I have to say, I don't think Geminis know what that is yet. I know so many Geminis who don't know what they want to be when they grow up. I think this week you're going to figure it out. it's probably something you've already thought of, and then your mind just dismissed it like it was nothing, and you didn't check your heart to realize it was everything. So be careful, Geminis. You tend to dismiss ideas because you think about how hard they are, and you don't really think about how much you love them. When you love something, you'll go the distance for it. All right. So I think that Geminis have a special career mission, and I'm interested to see what that's going to be because I've got Geminis in my life and they don't know yet. Cancer. Cancer, your grand I am statement is with career and legacy. You are here to have a legacy, and that legacy is not someone you're in a relationship with. You're not Mr. or Mrs. somebody. That's not your legacy. I know a lot of Cancers thought it was Mr. or Mrs. somebody, and you will be Mr. or Mrs. somebody, but that's not what they'll write about in the history books, okay? So your grand I am statement is that you are here to leave a mark on the world, or as my good friend Chris Rex says, make a dent. I love his Dent Makers program. So you're here to be this legacy. So this week you're looking at, okay, if I'm here to be this legacy, is this current job on the path of that? Is my direction, is my training on the path of that? Does my behavior every day act like I'm on this path or not act like I'm on this path? Am I talking about it or am I doing something about it? So you are moving forward with changing your daily life to point towards this legacy that you're meant to live and who you're meant to be. Now, the Earth conjoining the South Node in Libra says you're going to have to pull away from certain feelings you have about others. Certain feelings you have about others, and this goes for Cancer risings too, Daryl. These feelings for others are holding you back. I love how sentimental y'all are. I love how empathetic you are. If I have a boo-boo, I go to a Cancer first. But I think Cancers are being held back by their compassion and feelings for other people. So you've got to move away from certain relationships you have, probably codependent relationships you have with certain people. All right. Now, your grand I am statement, Cancer, again, is with your legacy. You are here to have a legacy, and that's what you're going to be known for, is what you end up doing. And Mercury is going to retrograde from your legacy all the way back to, well, what does that make my career? So by April 25th, you're going to have a new idea of what your career needs to be for you to make that legacy. That's the spectrum of the Mercury retrograde. And the Venus conjunct Neptune is a life purpose. Cancers have come for a spiritual life purpose, a spiritual a place, a thing that you've agreed to do for God. You've told God you will do something that's meaningful to you and is meaningful to God. So come Thursday, I believe Cancers will be crystal clear about that life purpose. Leos. I love saying that. Leos, your grand I am statement is with life purpose. So you've come to do something important. You've come to educate the world. You've come to enlighten the world. You've come to show them how it's done. You have a life purpose that is the grand I am. You are the king or queen of da 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 da. That's your life purpose. So you are going to realize that you are meant to be someone, a role model, an example of the life purpose. You are going to live the purpose that you preach. All right. Now, since you're going to live the purpose that you preach, you're going to have to start looking at your beliefs this week and ask yourself, are your actions, first of all, in alignment with your beliefs? Are you practicing what you preach? That's the first thing. The second thing is, are these beliefs on the path of your purpose, or are these beliefs on some other rogue purpose? And I think part of the path of least resistance is Leos have too many purposes. All right. So I think you have to scale down. You can't be a disinfectant to all of the darkness in the world. You've got to disinfect glyphosate, or disinfect poverty, or disinfect. You've got to choose a specific, says Sensei. All right. But this week, you're going to sort of work through all of your behaviors. Are they in alignment with your beliefs? Are they in alignment with your purpose? Now, the South Node and the Earth conjuncting says that you have to walk away. You are too attached to certain ideas, certain words, or certain communications. Okay. In other words, we've heard enough, Leo. There are some things you've just beaten to death and we're just tired of hearing it. It's not getting you anywhere. If you haven't noticed, no one's listening. Okay. Like, and if no one's listening, it's not what you're meant to say. So I think Leos are tied to certain ideas, certain attitudes, and certain communications. And I think to some degree, you feel that because we love you, we're going to copycat this, and we're not. So you are disconnecting from certain ideas and communication and focusing more on the purpose. Okay. More on the purpose more than anything else. Because if people were going to follow what you said, they would have already. Okay. It's not that. You have to re-architect the message basically with that North Node. Now, your Mercury retrograde goes from life purpose to your beliefs. So you're going to have to say, okay, my purpose is this. So what do I have to change as far as education, as far as belief, as far as this, as far as that? You're going to maybe change where you get educated, where you get certified, where you travel, a lot of just planning of the beliefs and the architecture in order to find that core wisdom. And that's what the path of least resistance for you, Leo, is the core wisdom. Like, what's the pure core wisdom I'm trying to teach? That's the path of least resistance for you. And ironically, Neptune on Jupiter, Venus on Neptune. I'm all over the planetary map. Venus on Neptune for you is you promised to evolve. Your spiritual mission is that you are to evolve. Leos are fabulous. And so they kind of feel like they're perfect out of the box. And God's like, no, you must evolve like everyone. And so your mission is that you're going to change before our very eyes. And we're going to be like, whoa, how'd you do that? That's your spiritual mission, is to change in front of our very eyes and then probably teach us how you did it. Okay. Somebody asked, how do you gauge on what to say these days? If your heart wants to say it, say it. If your ego wants to say it, button it. That's the way. Virgos, the virtuosos. Virgos, your grandmaster purpose is actually to evolve. So your grandmaster I am is that you have changed. Your I am is I have changed. I am not the person I once was. That is your grandmaster statement. I have changed. Now, as a result, this whole week, because you've changed, you've got to start to pay attention to where the boundaries are. So now that you changed, you can't open up this door. Now that you changed, you got to close that door. Because you've changed, you're going to be open to some things you weren't and closed to some things you used to be open to. So there's a lot of opening and closing of doors because you have changed. All right. So this whole week's about changing boundaries because your grandmaster statement is, I have changed. Now, the thing about this is the South Node and Earth is saying you have certain relationship to money that you have to let go of. Maybe you're holding on to a job that you're not happy with. Maybe you're holding on to an income property that you're not really crazy about. Maybe you're holding on to a jewelry heirloom that you eventually want to sell it. The universe is saying, let go of material relationships that don't serve you. This is a total green light, Virgo, to clean out the closets and the garage. I know you love this shift, and send it all to Goodwill, because the planets are basically saying, get rid of the junk, declutter. So this isn't official. This is the first time in my entire life that I've seen the astrology actually tell a Virgo to reorganize their closet. But this is it. But this is also money. Reorganize how you spend, reorganize how you borrow, let go of all the outdated relationships that you have to banks or to certain investors. You're letting go of different money and productivity things. And you might be letting go of processes too. There might be a faster way to make it that has just as high of quality. I'm not saying to usurp quality, but I am saying you're holding on to money to the point of it actually getting in the way of you changing. That's what the astrology is saying. And I know Virgos, they tend to hoard a little bit, especially around income. I've noticed that. They don't let go of their money. I can think of 2 Virgo risings right now at this issue. Now, the Mercury retrograde says you're going to start with the grand I am, I have changed, and your mind's going to work back and go, okay, well, what has to change? What door has to open? What door has to close? What door has to, what am I open to? What am I open to? What am I open to? What am I not open to? And also, by the way, Virgos and Virgo risings, this is also sexual connection, that you're going to change who you connect to sexually and who you don't connect to sexually. Now, the Venus-Neptune conjunction for Virgos is that your destiny is with a particular partnership. All Virgos are destined to be in a particular partnership. It's probably a romantic one, but it might also include a business relationship or a best friends forever, like a Kate and Allie type of thing, or a Thelma and Louise type of thing. although that ended tragically. But there's probably, more than one partnership that you are better in than you are out of. All right. And I think that's what the planets are saying for the Virgos. Libras, Brittney Carmichael. Libras they have a new grand I am about who they are in relationships. I am the breadwinner. I am the peacemaker. I am the neutral party. There is a new grand I am statement for who Libras are in relationships. And so this week, you will be exploring, well, if I am this in relationships, then I need to start looking at all my relationships in life, my romantic relationships, my business relationships, my friendships, relationships to vendors, relationships to employees, relationships to employers. All relationships now must be re-examined because you are now a new thing in relationships. That's what the astrology is saying. Now, the South Node in the Earth says you have a relationship to certain behavior patterns, and you have to let go of certain behavior patterns and certain responses. So what this is saying is Libras have to move away from a way of you behaving because that behavior is indicative to the old relationship I am statement, not the new relationship I am statement. So it is your responses or lack of responses or the way you allow things to happen. So sometimes it's the lack of a response. You allow it to happen. You allow them to get away with it. These relationships patterns in your behavior have to now end. So the grand I am Mercury retrograde goes from I am this in relationships and will go all the way down to the path of least resistance in relationships on April 25th. So on April 25th, basically Libras and Libra risings, excuse me, that hydrogen water is coming up. Libras and Libra risings are probably going to renegotiate their partnerships or relationships around April 25th. So watch out if you're in a relationship with one. And Venus conjoining Neptune means that you have promised God that you would live a certain lifestyle or you would teach the world about a certain lifestyle. So your destiny choice on Thursday is with a particular lifestyle. Scorpios. Scorpios are, first of all, their grand I am has to do with a certain lifestyle. So you have said, I am free. I am retired. I am independent. I am married with 3 children. I am something in my life. So it's a lifestyle grand I am that Scorpios are creating. That grand I am lifestyle today involves, okay, well, if that's your lifestyle, should I be mowing the lawn? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing dishes? Should I hire someone for that? Should I team up with someone for this? So all the details of your daily life, your work life, your routine, your chores, the costs of all these things, these all have to be re-architected this week. They're going to go up a notch. It's time to give you a little bit of a plus promotion, okay, in daily life. And ultimately, this is part of the grand I am statement that you are now retired or happy or free or independent or something like that. Super excellent. Now, the eclipse, or excuse me, the South Node and the Earth conjunction is saying that if you're going to have this new lifestyle, you've got to let go of a certain spirituality. And I know what that spirituality is. A lot of Scorpios will tell me, oh, I've got bad luck. Let go of that spirituality. Oh, I'm doomed. Let go of that spirituality. God wasn't smiling on me at birth. Let go of that spirituality. There's some wrong relationship to past lives or God that is keeping you from stepping in the new lifestyle. You have some idea or some relationship to spirit like, oh, God doesn't like me, or I'm atheist and don't believe in God. That's okay, but that might not be working for you because maybe in life you are scared to death. You could die every moment because you have no connection to God at all. So you're going to change your relationship to God consciousness. So the grand I am statement is, I was born for this life. I am this life. And you're going to work through all the details to your daily work style. And then come April 25th, you choose the path of least resistance at work. The Venus-Neptune conjunction is, you were born to have your personal dreams and wishes come true. You were born to have your dreams and wishes come true. Every Scorpio must go after their dreams or you will let down God. Yes, that's heavy, but I'm not taking it back. That's what it is. You've got to go after your personal dreams. Okay. That is your spiritual mission. And maybe it's because and I mean this with all my heart, a lot of Scorpios have been real grumpy for the last 25 years. And I have a feeling that when we see all the grumpy people smiling like Japanese tourists, and I love Japanese tourists, by the way, I think that's going to change the world. So we see Scorpios get what their heart wants. Holy shift, I ought to try this. So I think it's going to be great. Okay, on to the next sip of hydrogen. Sagittarius. Sages, your grand I am statement is that your dreams and wishes are going to come true. You are the happiest girl alive. You're the happiest man alive. You're the happiest married man alive. You're the happiest playwright alive. You're the happiest musician alive. Your grand I am statement is your wishes will come true, that you are your wishes. Okay. Now, that said, being you are your wishes, you've got to look at what you're putting your heart into every day and ask you, is this on the path of what your heart really wants? Or are you investing in things that your heart doesn't really want, that you're sort of mad about? If you're not crazy excited and banging pots and pans out of enthusiasm, you're on the wrong path, Sag. You're not on the path of your personal dreams and wishes. So this whole week is about sort of really removing actions and behavior that are not in alignment with your personal dreams. Okay. So getting rid of things that are not in alignment with your personal dreams. Now, this means that you are going to have to withdraw from social connections. The Earth South Node means you have certain friendships, certain connections, certain agreements to the public, certain perceptions in the public, certain reputations. You're going to have to back away from certain relations in public for you to be able to go for what your heart really wants. The Mercury retrograde is going from the grand I am, I get all my dreams come true, to the path of least resistance of creativity, love. And this is also the path of least resistance when it comes to your childhood and also when it comes to your children. So it's your inner child issues as well, finding the path of least resistance. If you are still angry at your parents for a bad childhood, that is a resistant inner child. So you've got to free up your inner child here, Sagittarius. Now, the Neptune-Venus conjunction is about emotional security. Your destiny is to be emotionally secure and grounded. And I know that's really far-fetched. Most Sages I know are here today, gone tomorrow. Can't catch them. They're like the gingerbread man. I can't catch them. But I think that the destined Sag is going to be a grounded Sag. They're going to be a castle onto their own right. All righty, moving on. Capricorns, the captivators. Your grand I am statement is that you are going to generate emotional security, that you're going to feel emotionally secure for the long haul. I am emotionally secure. That is the grand I am statement for Capricorns. Now, for that, to get there, you've got to renegotiate all of your feelings about everything. You have to change your feelings about certain levels of money in the bank, change your feelings about whether or not your mom is happy with you, change your feelings about, being attached to this deal working when this deal may not work. Your feelings about other things and others has to change, what you respond to and what you don't respond to, if your grand I am statement is, I am emotionally secure. What you're going to have to walk away from with the moon, with Earth in the South Node, is career or leadership decisions. There are certain career relationships or leadership situations that do not serve feeling good and feeling grounded, that they're in the way of you feeling good. They make you feel lousy. So if you're holding on to business deals or leadership aspects that you don't feel good about, let go of it, clean things out. Or perhaps maybe you're working with certain partners or certain people where it's not working. So the Mercury retrograde is from the grand I am emotionally secure all the way down to the path of least resistance of feeling good by April 25th. The Venus-Neptune conjunction is around a certain attitude or a genius idea. You have come to make a genius idea real. You're here to make it real either through a novel, through reality, like breaking ground on a project, or maybe from just performing it in a performance. But you've come to make some genius idea real. That is Capricorn's destiny. Aquarians. Aquarius is your grand I am statement has to do with attitude, that you're here to adopt. You are the king or queen of some certain attitude. And that attitude is something that will come from gratitude, first of all. So you got to be grateful to be that person, or it's not going to work, because this is Aries synergy. But that attitude is probably going to be some sort of battle cry of the new era, battle cry of the frequency races. Now, to get there, You've got to really suspend certain communication and start others. So this is about re-architecting what ideas you entertain and what ideas you don't. This is about what you speak up about and what you don't speak up about. So you are now ultimately changing the way you think and communicate so that you can come into this attitude. What you have to walk away from with the Earth conjoining the South Node is a certain belief about life. There are certain beliefs about life that might have been true, but are no longer true. So you've got to step away from how you are so hung up on thinking this is the way or that's the way, or I don't believe in this or I believe in that. Your beliefs have gotten you to where you are now, but the astrology is saying if you're going to be the forerunners of the new era, then your beliefs are old school. Even if you were ahead of time, God is just now opening these doors of this wisdom. So if you're holding on to the old beliefs, you're not a forerunner of the new era because you're holding on to beliefs you've had since you were 25. So any belief you've had since you were 25, suspect. It's time to move away from those beliefs. So the Mercury retrograde is from the grand I am statement around an attitude, and then reworking with that Mercury retrograde, all your thoughts, all your ideas, all your communications, until on April 25th, you have the path of least resistance when it comes to communicating and ideas. And by the way, notice what I said, the path of least resistance to new ideas. You are here to stir things up, but you're not here to stir people up. So you've got to learn to say it in a way that doesn't trigger the landmines of everyone. And that's not to say to distort the truth. That's to say, if you are creative and you are as genius as you say you are, you can find a word that will not trigger either side. That's the path of least resistance, to lay down the truth without triggering either side. I challenge you, Aqua. Let's see if you meet that challenge. Now, Venus conjuncting Neptune says, your spiritual destiny is abundance. You are here to be abundant, whether that's abundant ideas, or that's abundant money, or that's abundant products and widgets, or abundant tarot cards that you produce. You are here to be abundant because you have the commodity of the new era. So yes, you're here to be abundant. Obviously, that's the greatest thing you can do to shift the world economy to the .love economy, something I'll be talking about next week. All right, I think that's it for Aquarius. And then lastly, but never leastly, the Pisces, our dream weavers. Pisces, you are here. Your grand I am statement is, I am abundant. I am wealthy. I am rich. Yes. So just like the Aquariuses, you are meant to become wealthy and abundant so that everybody else wants to be spiritual too. So obvious, right? So you're going to have to re-looking at your money and productivity this week. And really, I know you've got the God thing down. I know you're compassionate. I know you're spiritual. Show up to work on time, Pisces. Don't pull back. Focus on the money. Get out of debt. Okay, so you got to pull yourself out of these age of Capricorn sort of things that you've been stuck in. Pisces have been in debt for age of Pisces, from what I can tell, and it's time to get on top of the money thing. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So it's time to now make money, be more productive, cut your debt, cut your losses, focus on what your most profitable margins. With the Earth conjuncting the South Node in Libra, you've got to pull away from certain boundaries you have that don't serve you. And that might be keeping the money. You're like, nope, sorry, I will train, but I will not do readings. You're psychic, do a reading. Why do you have this boundary about not doing readings when you're good at it? So you have certain boundaries. It's like, well, it gets too much energy. We'll put up some boundaries that keeps the energy out. So the universe is saying, you got to re-architect your boundaries. If you say, I don't do windows because I don't like to be out in the sun, put on some sunscreen and go do windows. Okay. So change your boundaries so you can make more money. Yes, that's what the planets say. They want Pisces to make more money. So you're going to go from I am abundant to the path of least resistance for making money. Notice what I said, the path of least resistance to make money, the one that's easiest. All right. Pisces are under the false idea that money is hard work. I don't think so. That's only for some people who believe that. And then lastly, the Venus-Neptune conjunction is in your sign. And what it's saying is you have come to be a certain character, whether that's Uncle Ben selling rice or ho, 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 green giant. You're here to be some character that's going to sell us on something. That's your legacy. And so you Your I am statement is probably more Aries than all 12 signs. It's time to be a strong character of spiritual evolution. And so it is. All right, folks. That is the horoscopes for all 12 signs. And we have some fun times ahead. Someone that I already enjoy the company of. We have hung out before, and so you get to see us hang out together. Keep streaming. We have Libra, Brittney Carmichael up here after about a 4-minute intermission. Go potty, come back, and let's have a chat with ASTRO Mingle. This zodiac weather is from Saturday, March 30th to Friday, April 5th, 2024. Looking ahead at the weekend forecast, it's going to be a peaceful weekend as you wrap up all the steps to create your new Migo, and Sunday you are reborn, and it's also Easter. On Saturday, it's sunny and captivating. Step 10 means that Earth rules the day. This will be a quiet day where you feel maybe a little insecure as things are coming together and you are manifesting a new Migo approach. The moon is in Sagittarius, so you are exploring your story and you are consciously shifting, you could say, your spiritual pitch. On Sunday, it's sunny and devoted. It's also Easter. Step 11 rules the day, so it's a day of coming into alignment, integrity, focusing on your health. It's an Easter day, but it's also a day of aligning with your soul astrologically, so Easter is quite appropriate for this day. The moon is crossing the galactic center in Sagittarius, so you will feel during this day not only your alignment, but your place in the universe. Looking ahead at the 5-day weekday forecast, after closing the story and building a new Migo, it's now time to take that Migo and explore the ego. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's sunny and responsible. Jupiter rules the day with step 12, so it's a day of open-heartedness and light learning, but Mercury stations retrograde, which means you are now thinking inside out from the character you want to be all the way down to the path of least resistance. On this day, you're going to feel, although maybe a little foggy, that you are expanding your daily activities and developing your spiritual promise. And with the moon in Capricorn, even though Mercury is retrograde, you're quite serious and ready for business. On Tuesday, it's sunny and catty. Step 13 means Uranus rules the day. It's going to be a weird day. Things may feel off. Expect the unexpected and break down breakthroughs. You are innovating your daily behavior and the activities you do, and intuiting what needs to happen next. And again, with the moon in Capricorn, you are grounded with focus and determination. On Wednesday, it's sunny and you're feeling quite sharp. Step 14 means Mercury retrograde rules the day. On this day, you're probably going to reframe the way you think about your daily life because you're opening up to a new potential destiny. That destiny is in the air because Venus is conjoining Neptune. So you're really feeling your purpose on Earth. And with the moon in Aquarius, you're also tuning into the vibration of this future. On Thursday, it's sunny and futuristic. Step 15 means Venus rules the day. This is a creative resting and receiving day. Things will be calm, easygoing, trying to find the balance in things. You're also trying to identify the path of least resistance. That's because the sun conjoins the North Node in Aries on this day. Once you find that path, you could say, this is the way. And with the moon in Aquarius, you're also feeling how it will affect community and relationships. And then on Friday, it's sunny and quiet. Step 16 means that Neptune rules this day, so you are tuning in to your spiritual calling and aligning your spirit with your path. You could also say you are affirming your strength as Venus moves into Aries. And just to top the week off with a spiritual note after Easter, the moon is moving from Aquarius into Pisces, and so on this net 7 day, you are really feeling your spiritual calling.
It's SiriusJoy, joy, joy.
Hello and welcome to ASTRO Mingle, the spiritual podcast that mingles with the talented lightworkers and innovative influencers of our time. I am very excited tonight because tonight, one of the topics we tend to talk about is the return of the goddess and divine feminine, and an important topic in this new generation. And tonight's guest is a woman that is role modeling the way. Named Top 20 Soul Coaches of 2022, Brittney Carmichael is a trailblazing lightworker, a psychic medium, an award-winning hairstylist and owner of over 16 years. I think the evidence is right there in her hair right now. She's an empowerment coach for female entrepreneurs, a luxury retreat host, plus she calls herself a 99% unicorn. Brittney Carmichael is the founder of Shine School, a self-love course that has helped thousands of women awaken their authentic self and reclaim their power. She's the creator and author of the Shine from the Inside Oracle and the co-founder of the Elevated Life Membership Club. And that's just what she does on a Monday. Please send waves of love and gratitude and welcome our guest, Step 20 Libra, Brittney Carmichael. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Christopher. This was, dreams in the making. So I'm so glad we could make this happen.
I am too. And I'm surprised we haven't yet. Your home is in Texas, right?
Yep.
And my home has been close, and yet we've never been able to give each other a hug yet. So one day that will happen, maybe this summer. First of all, how did you start? How does your career life start? I always like to do the background of people, sort of like, how they got into this. I mean, you first went into a stylist as a stylist and a salon owner, but you were interested in innovating that too. Tell us about that beginning.
Yeah, that's such a great question. And in fact, it takes me back to when I was 6 years old. We grew up in a trailer park and there were beer cans scattered everywhere. And so my little hippie soul decided I wanted to clean up the planet, and I learned I could make money turning in that aluminum. So when I went and turned in those beer cans at 6 years old, that man started eating his lunch and he said, "Oh, honey, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be talking with my mouth full." And me at 6 years old just said, "Well, as long as you're talking cash, I don't care." So when you ask about where did my entrepreneur journey start? I mean, even Easter, my grandmother's favorite story is me picking up the eggs that only jingled with coins and putting down the rest. So I believe that I was just born to be an entrepreneur. Both my parents, my mom was a hairdresser, my dad, famous rock musician turned contractor and preacher, which is an interesting story, but it was just in my blood. You talk about not being on time. I'm a double Pisces. So I was like, rude, time is not my boss was the best response. So I was just born to go into business for myself. And how I got there is when my mom wouldn't make me look like Christina Aguilera at 12 years old. So I took the scissors myself and gave myself a haircut. And that's when I realized that I took my confidence into my own hands through the use of changing the way that I looked on the outside. And that played a whole role into my adolescence and why I do what I do today.
And you went beyond skin deep because in your bio, you mentioned that you have an intention to help women become beautiful inside and out. So you took haircutting to a higher level. Where did that ambition come from?
It took me to a higher level, honestly. I realized working behind the chair for almost 2 decades that we are only as strong as the story we tell ourselves. So the fact that you keep saying the I am statement, how powerful that truly is, I witnessed for almost 20 years of saying, I'm not pretty, I'm not this, my teeth are that, I should have worn makeup, oh my God, I'm so fat. I just kept hearing these stories, these negative labels that women were giving themselves when I was making them look fabulous, if I don't say myself. So I realized that there wasn't as powerful as making someone feel beautiful on the outside. What I learned is that making them feel good about themselves and own their authentic confidence and take the mask off and be okay with being who they truly are. That was where the real power was. And so with my mom's stroke in 2012, me almost dying just a few months after that, you talk about 2012, that was my wake up call for sure. I think with all of that kind of spirit was like, wake up, honey. It showed me that I was meant to create this confidence from within and not the external Botox, if you will, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, no, there's anything wrong with that. But so interestingly enough, and women, I think, do go to the salon. Really, they want to feel beautiful on the inside. That is the motive. And just as a person who describes herself as a female empowerment coach, I think is the word you use. Where do you see where are women today? Because it's been quite a carnival. I mean, just curious on your philosophical perspective of women. I mean, they went from housewives to like women's lib in the 70s to like pinups to like corporate in a business suit to like Me Too movement and took their power back. Where do you see women today?
Yeah, women are waking up. And, Pablo Picasso said, you're either a doormat or you're a goddess. And I truly feel that shift is happening from, hey, I didn't have boundaries before, and I was taught to lead in a masculine hustle, let's force things kind of way. And the divine feminine, we talk about waking that up, our goddess power, is really coming back home to ourselves and trusting our own wisdom, trusting our body's responses, and being able to surrender to the flow and know when there is rest. And I really do see that shift happening. I coach women in business, so I see more women wanting to even shift out of the hair salon into a more spiritual realm. I mean, that's why I love Heather. I'm drawn to her so much. She's a woo-woo hairdresser like me. So I feel like it's just this awakening in women that they are getting more confident and comfortable with their power. I think Marianne Williamson said it best. It's not that we're afraid of our power, or afraid of our inadequacies. We're afraid of our power. And I think that we have had to deal with our inadequacies for the last decade, if not your whole lifetime up until this point. I think that we're past that hurdle. So when you talk about this rebirth and this new collective awakening, I just had a woman sit in my chair today and she said, you know what? I'm done learning through pain, and I am going to learn with ease and flow. And it just showed me that beautiful reflection of like, we are in that present moment of I'm here and that's enough.
I feel like women have an important role in the new era also, because I feel like the woman's touch is one that's far different than the power of a man's touch. And I'm talking about verbal, like the way women present. And I feel like they're an important part of where we're headed. What do you feel the woman's role is in the new era?
Leadership. 100%. We've been taken away from leadership because of our power and because of our connection to spirit. When you look at the Lover's card in tarot, the woman is looking to Archangel Raphael and the man is looking to the woman for that channel, for that bridge. So I think we're stepping into that bridge role of giving ourselves the credibility that we're not crazy. We actually are a divine channel of creativity and love and beauty and all these wonderful things. But we've been told that's not important. That's not going to get you a paycheck. But let me tell you what, the more you follow your passion, step 20 Libra here, the more you're going to light and generator in human design, the more you light up, the more that you're going to attract the right people, the right opportunities. So I think it's coming back into just what lights you up. And that's actually one of the lessons that I teach in my self-love program, Shine School, and why I created the Shine from the Inside Oracle, because I wanted to, that was the question. Here's the real truth. So much in the salon is gossip and drama and toxicity. And I was over it. In 2012, when I had that like wake up call, I was like, I don't want to hear this toxicity. How do I get women to start talking more positively? And the question that I was guided to ask was, what are you passionate about? And what I learned is over 90% of the women that sat in my chair said, I don't know. And that's when I realized, what the hell are you doing? Because this is your life and you get to decide. I've always lived by the Dorothy rule of like the sparkly. It's why I love sparkles. Like she taught me that when a woman decides or anyone decides, it's done. It's just the waffling in our belief or our worthiness or whatever story we tell ourselves of why it's not possible is what keeps us from receiving that thing. So I always just love this idea of like, when you decide, it is done. And that is where I think we're moving into, is just a deeper knowing in our decision and not looking for approval outside of ourselves, which that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. I mean, watching women, 90% of my clientele are women. So I feel deeply connected to the cause. And I feel like this is just being philosophical on camera, but I feel like a lot of the reasons why women have lost their way is because we've shamed the idea of feelings being a source of truth. And so women were like thrown into like, well, you have to prove logically. I even see this in male-female relationships. So the man's like, you're not making any sense. And just assuming, and us dismissing the power of the feeling that the woman is getting. So I think with us honoring the power of what feelings tell us, I think 20-degree Libras will go a lot farther.
It's interesting you mentioned the feeling part, and I'd love to go deep, because if you've ever experienced the #MeToo movement, I sparkle magic to you, but that happened to me in an early childhood, which is why my throat chakra was extremely blocked until I did the work, right? But because I experienced that as a child, I cut off my body. I cut off my relationship to my feeling. I don't want to feel that anymore. And so I think that the reason why women are disconnected from their feeling is not only the story that we've been told is don't be too emotional, you're sensitive, sensitive, you're too much. And men not understanding like that we do, like when my nips get hard, it's a hell yes. Okay. Like the body doesn't lie. All right. When my arm hairs stand up, when you're talking about dead spot, you know, and I'm channeling mediumship stuff, like my arm hairs don't lie. So I think it's a combination of us being tortured in a sense and
Yes.
being told like that it's not okay.
And I'm just going to go political. What are your feelings about, men in female sports? And it seems like there seems to be a little bit of attack on women and their ability to stay who they are authentically.
That, I mean, you nailed it. That's exactly what it is. It's just another way for them to take our power away. So it's hard to get into that conversation because I think I'll get riled up because I really want us to all get along and all love each other and all stay in each other's freaking lanes, So like, let us play our sports. Okay.
Yeah, totally. Well, and I feel like, to me, and just to speak to this, because I believe in all human rights, I'll just say for the record, I feel like there should be special categories for different varieties. I just think we just create more categories.
Love that.
Let everyone have their own lane.
That would be staying in their lane. And I think it would make it, as a Libra, fair.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally fair. So you mentioned this, your mom was diagnosed, or your mom had an event, a medical event, a stroke. Yeah. And that, in your bio, you talk about how that was a turning point in your life. Can you explain, was that the dark night of the soul for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. My mom had a stroke that paralyzed her in 2012, and it took months of recovery. There was so much physical therapy and me just stepping aside and holding space for her. I realized that's like where I started developing like telepathic communication. And after months of her recovery, we'll fast forward through all the like trauma stuff. After she learned how to speak again, she's still a little funky on full moons, but she's like, we call her like 90% good. She's a true walking miracle. And I remembered that Zen philosophy of you have to accept what is to end suffering. And that was the universe's way of showing me like, this, you can't control, babe. You're going to have to ride this wave. And when my mom slowly but surely learned to talk again, I asked her, I just watched the Secret documentary. So I was like, our thoughts create our reality. Like, we're doing this. So I literally the first question I asked my mom, why did you do this to yourself? And she replied, it took her a minute, but she said, because everybody needed something from me. And
whoa.
It broke me. I realized I was following in the same footsteps of being burnt out and overweight and overworked and fucking over it all. Like I was, very young 20s and not in a good space. On paper, I'm doing my job. I've got the perfect partner, like everything's great. But inside it was miserable and I didn't love myself and I was fighting myself, I was talking mad shit to myself all the time. I realized that my label used to be Bitchney. And so it's funny, you talked about my name earlier, Brittney Carmichael. Chris and I, when we got married, we were going to change our last name to Heartless, but we didn't want to spend the money. So it's interesting that didn't happen and who we became. I mean, even in my vows, I said to Chris, we've got it all backwards. We're sinners to saints. And so the fact that Chris and I are standing in the light, teaching elevated consciousness and healing and love and all of that is, I mean, if you could just see a picture of me from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I mean, you would not even recognize me. So I realized that I needed to make that change. When my mom said that, I was not headed in a good path. I was not loving myself. I was not on my own team. I constantly wore labels of all kinds of negative words. And that sent me on a journey of inward self-discovery, of asking that question that I think everyone needs to ask themselves during their lifetime. And that is, who am I? I wasn't just Brittney the hairdresser. There was so much more to me that I didn't even know. And I had lost myself in my relationship and my clients and my lack of boundaries as a double Pisces, it was just, I was lost. And that wake-up call, it kind of got me like, present. And then where I almost died in Colorado, that got me in touch with my intuition, because my intuition kept saying, turn around, this is not a road. And I ignored it. And I made a vow to myself in that moment that I would never trust external GPS, that my internal GPS was right. And it was trying to keep me alive. So it's like every red flag you've ever been given and ignored, there's a lesson. And I kept saying, there's a lesson here. There's a lesson here. And I went to go see a psychic in 2012 who told me I had the gift to buy some tarot cards and get started. And I knew on a deeper level, I knew what she meant. But at the same time, I was just open and curious and thought I was just going to be a hairdresser. So it was a very interesting spirit-led journey of just getting curious and following your bliss, like Joseph Campbell says.
And so how did you go from, how did you move into a professional realm of psychic? Because I think that's always a big leap. We're all intuitive, but to sit there and call yourself one, and I'm
Yeah.
hoping you can sort of illuminate in other women watching to honor that gift coming in the door.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because I saw a comment saying like, "Oh, you're calling me out on not reading as a Pisces. Like, it's your time. We're needed." I mean, even Vogue said years ago that tarot would be the next hot topic. So like, we don't need to hide anymore. And so for me as a psychic, I've always known as a child, I always knew things. I was very intuitive. I would have dreams and see things. It was always a part of my realm. I even had rituals before I would go to bed, so no like entities would get me and whatnot. I mean, crazy. So it wasn't until 2012 where I went and did a float sensory deprivation tank. And in the tank, my biological father, he had just passed. He said to me in the tank, "Hey, baby girl, I had to pass in the physical world to guide you from the spiritual world." And that sent me on this like goose chase of like, I am talking to dead people right now. Like this was very clear. It was my dad's voice. I like, it was just a deep knowing and a remembrance of like, oh, like, of course that's possible. And funny enough, Noelle sent me a text before to get on and she accidentally wrote the word Teresa. I said, well, I'll have to share that story because our very, very Christian friend kept recommending to me, you need to watch Long Island Medium, Britt. You really need to watch Long Island Medium. He knew I didn't watch TV, and you know, it just seemed like a really odd suggestion from someone that I didn't, you know, it just didn't seem like a likely situation. So I felt like that was my angel saying, hey, like, pay attention here. So I watched the first episode. I'm crying like a baby. My husband looks over at me. He says, we got to turn this off. You're crying. And I just said, I want to do this for people. And he said, what? And I said, I don't know who said that. I'm not really sure who said that. And when I went, my 27th birthday, I had my very first astrology reading. And in Colorado, actually, we were in Aspen at a farmer's market. And I sat down to go with the tarot reader, but she was busy. So Ruby, the astrologer, ran my chart. And she said, honey, you need to be studying higher learning. I said, well, my husband just got me a psychic mediumship course and a book on it. She's like, that's what you're supposed to be doing. So between the psychic that I saw, who was absolutely legit, telling me that I needed to buy cards, and having this astrologer say like, you're here to, you know, like do the higher learning stuff. It was just this wild journey of unfolding that came with clients. Like as my clients would come in, I would say, hey, did your grandpa drive a blue truck? And they would be like, how the hell do you know that? I don't know. I just know things. And so, I mean, even I sat on the plane just this week next to a girl and I was like, did you find someone that died? She just cried. She said, my grandpa. And I said, he warned you. He told you he was going to die. She's like, yeah, but I told him, no way, you're not going to die. So like, I was saying I'm in my full on Teresa Caputo era because spirit just brings me the people, whether they sit in my salon chair, whether I'm standing or sitting next to them on a plane. And I just started developing my courage and confidence to deliver the message. I had clients that never came back because they were like, WTF, no way. I don't want anything to do with that. And I started reading cards for my clients while they were processing because they were like, what are you into now? Why have you lost so much weight? Why are you so happy? They just started asking me, what are you doing? And I kept sharing the same thing. What I realized over years of time, kind of like you develop the step system, I started sharing the same process for my healing. Thank God I married a hypnotist. So I've learned all the tools on how to heal my inner child and do all of that internal subconscious work and tap into my psychic abilities through hypnosis. And so I just realized I was repeating myself over and over, that I was bringing accurate messages to people that I didn't even know what was even happening. So I just developed this trust over years of time. And for the last 7 years, every Wednesday, I've been pulling tarot cards on Woo Woo Wednesday, my YouTube channel. So it's just been a long journey of people asking me for it, me trusting that even though I scare people off or they don't accept it, many of them do, and it changes their life. And that to me is worth the risk of just opening up and connecting.
Well, something in them asked for it. They wouldn't be in your space. I think a lot of times you seem like the personality that attracts a lot of people who are closed down. Might be that Pluto in your eighth house might be part of that, where you sort of, you know, open the door where they, just from the stories and the anecdotes you just gave. But you've gone beyond that, Brittney. You've mixed intuition with business. I think you're one of the foremothers of spiritual business, honestly, which I really admire you for. I think it's excellent. In fact, you have a program called Intuitive Entrepreneurship, How I Crafted a Six-Figure Salon and Online Business. So tell us about that program and what that's about.
Yeah, it's been interesting because when I was first guided to teach, I remember standing on a mountain with the first American woman to summit Mount Everest from the north and south side. I was guided to one of her hiking classes in Colorado,
Huh.
and she handed me a Tibetan prayer flag and she said, "Write your intention." And I wrote, "I now accept my role as a spiritual teacher." Again, who wrote that? Like, what is this even coming through me? And actually, I
Wow.
want to share this before I go on to business. When you were talking about the great I am statement, I was given this dream box and I wrote an intention, an I am statement. And I think that there's something really important to share with you. When I first wrote it, I wrote, "I wish to be an inspirational leader who teaches others how to love themselves authentically and make a difference doing what they love, to be a spiritual power couple with Chris, and to travel the world sharing unlimited love, light, laughter, and luxury." And I wrote this on my birthday, 10/13 in 2015. And years later, I crossed out "I wish to be" and I wrote "I am." So I think it's really important.
Wow.
We need to start claiming it as if it is now, because I wrote this 9 years ago. Would I have ever guessed that I'd be sitting across from you having this conversation? Probably not. But I knew on a deeper level that I was meant for more and that I was meant for big things. So as far as the business goes, I ran a luxury, successful hair salon, a vegan hair salon, and it's still open to this day, which based on our last reading, I think it's being sold very soon. So,
Oh,
um,
interesting.
I've always been in business. I've always wanted to be in business for myself. And the fact that I am this spiritual teacher and I host these healing retreats, I just realized that there's an opportunity to make a profit on your passion and it also be in alignment with your purpose for a big, for a higher good for all involved. And so I think so many of us get squirrely around charging like based on our worth or things like that. And I
Yeah.
had already had by the time I started the tarot and coaching and all of that, I had 10 years of charging for my services in the hair world. So I had a lot of practice that made it a lot easier for me to say, well, I am going to be an established luxury experience, because that's how I ran my hair salon. So I want to make my business a luxury experience in the spiritual world. And this is not to shame anyone that charges $5 for a tarot reading, but the psychic that I went to, she was like, "You cannot do that. If you don't start charging money," this is what she told me, "you got to stop doing free readings." Because I did them for free for a long time because
Hmm.
I was just testing them out and seeing what was what. And when I went back to her, she said, "If you don't start charging for your readings, the angels are not going to give you any more information."
Whoa. That's
Like,
an
is that a
ultimatum.
thing? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I
Well,
don't think
okay,
so.
if that's a
It
thing,
worked
then I
though.
will just slap a price tag on it. And I went with the luxury. I went with the luxury experience. So it's not just I'll send you a card in the mail and not be personal about it. I'm going to go in and I'm also going to coach you on what are the next 5 steps you need to do to heal that forgiveness. So it's not just here, good luck. I really have taken it to another level through coaching programs, NLP, hypnosis. I mean, so many trainings that I've done over the years that kind of swirl into one sparkle magic package.
Unicorn magic package. I
Exactly.
personally believe, I keep preaching this and you probably heard it, that my guides are like, it's time for the light to make bank. Like it's time to create the industry. It's to create the standards of the industry. That's what Unite the Light's about. But it's also that the idea that poverty and spirituality are married is a Judeo-Christian hangover false belief that, ultimately we need to generate wealth from from being our higher self. I don't even think wealth's going to be on the planet more than 30 or 50 years. Like this is almost a dying thing anyways. But in this particular part of where we are, it is time for us to do very well financially, because I think the people who are only interested in the money will start to sway and move the power of the dollar into spiritual ascension. That's just my belief.
Yeah,
And
you've said that, and I agree. I do think that the dollar will go away. And I've been saying this for years as a joke with my mother-in-law. Like, wouldn't it be so nice if we just went back to Bartersville, where we all just contributed what we're good at? So I feel like commune vibes, like we all just contribute what we're good at, and I think we can live in harmony. So I'm with you on that. I don't know if we'll see that, but I really think that we will be that turning point. I don't attract the closed ones. I attract the ones that are on the precipice of change. I'm the transformation specialist. So when someone's like, I am ready to evolve or shift. That's like my newest program, into that next evolved version of myself without the self-sabotage. That's who that and women in narcissistic relationships that need to get out ASAP. That's usually who the universe brings me.
We'll hold that topic for the future here. We'll talk about that a little in a couple of minutes, because that's a big one. So as far as, I just want to do the intuitive entrepreneurship program. You want to talk about that just for a moment? I was curious about it because it's compelling.
Yeah. So a lot of women, as I was teaching tarot online, I was guided to start with Shine School, teach women how to love themselves, then teach women how to get intuitive, tap into their intuition, reclaim their power, and then teach them how to go into business for themselves. So I'm on this like friggin' 10-year track of like, I got to start at the basics, and then we'll get to like, if you don't know how to love yourself, you're not going to be able to run your business, because the business is a mirror for all of your shadows and all of your trauma. So whatever,
Yes.
when you go into business for yourself, there's no doubt it's going to reflect back to you those unhealed parts of yourself. So for me, I had to start with teaching women how to love themselves. That was the question that I kept getting asked all the time. Like, how do you separate or balance spirituality and business? And my answer is there is no difference. It is one and of the same, because it is you, and you are your spirituality. You are your business. And I think the time of wearing masks and separating and keeping different hats for different communities is disappearing, and we're starting to blend into this holistic view of ourselves. So when it comes to running a spiritual based business, the most important, and why I fuse the two together, it's about blending the embodiment of self-love and then also the practical steps of like how to run a business and crunch some numbers, So it really is the holistic blend of masculine and feminine, because we can have this great idea, but if we have no action step and follow through, then there is no manifestation.
And that's actually when you started the self-love program. What is your self-love program called again? Something about...
Yeah, Shine School. So Shine School was the story I was repeating over and over and over again to all of my clients that sat in the chair of how to love yourself, and I just started asking questions like, what does your self-care routine look like? Oh, nothing. Like, okay, well, what do you do if you do take care of yourself? And I'll never forget, I asked one of my clients, I was like, do you journal? She said, oh no, I would never do that. I was like, okay, journaling, module 1. And funny enough, I pulled a card from the Shine from the Inside Oracle, and it was, write down your goals and journal it out, write how you feel. So it's interesting.
So that's for our audience tonight.
Yeah, the message for you guys today was to write out how you feel, to just start getting it out of your head and onto paper. So I created this 6-week course to give you the foundational tools to reclaim your power, to own your confidence, to heal. And there's a whole module on forgiveness, one most importantly being of yourself. And then the final module is all about manifesting your dreams and your soul purpose. So it takes you through this program of like, how do you set up self-care rituals for yourself? What's your relationship to mind, body, and spirit? What is the eating? What is the sleeping? What are your routines looking like? What are your relationships and connections? There's a whole module on finding your community. And you talked about the collaboration being the next collateral. And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, that's how we're here today. I reached out and said, hey, you want to trade? And it happened. So it was because we wanted to support each other, and and you can find a way without the actual physical paper of money. So I felt like it just embodied exactly what I teach in Shine School. And that's, why we're here doing this work, because we're all going through this collective shift of how can we love ourselves so that we can trust to lean on each other. And I think that's where we're at, is we had to do the inner work so that we can trust each other and reconnect again.
I'm famous for saying self-love is not just a mani and a pedi. What do you... Talking to a salon owner, maybe you'll say that's not true. What are some basic principles for self-love? I mean, it may seem self-evident, but you'd be surprised. Most of my clients don't understand how to love themselves. They really don't.
Yeah, one of the big challenges I teach in Shine School is going on a negativity fast. So when it comes to self-love, it's how you talk to yourself. I think that's the most important. That's going to set the tone for the actions, the belief, and the behavior that follow. And so my challenge for you is to go on a 24-hour awareness check of how do you speak to yourself. Module 2 is making friends with your inner mean girl. So it's all about becoming aware, because awareness is the first key to change. So first we have to become aware. Are we even talking to ourselves? Chris asked me, he's so far ahead. It's not even funny. We need to run his chart. He's like 19,000 leagues ahead. And he's like, babe, do you talk to yourself? I'm like, no, I never do that. What do you mean? It wasn't until years later that I'm getting ready. I'm like, oh, I'm so fat. I'm so this and I'm so that. I'm like, oh, I talk to myself and it is really bad. It is actually really, really bad. So for the first step is one, are you even aware of what that inner dialogue is? If you're here watching, you're probably aware. You're evolved. So the second step is now we need to reframe it. What is that negative story we're telling ourselves? Mine for so long was I'm fat, which in my forgiveness module, we do a hypnosis session on going back to forgiving all the people in your childhood. And it turns out my uncle called me Brittney as a joke, and that implanted in my subconscious that I was fat. So I lived on this program that wasn't even mine for so long. So I think the first step is identifying what labels, what programs, what beliefs, are they even yours? Are you operating from? Mine, I mean, I don't even know if I can say it on live YouTube, but like I'm doing it anyway. Fat, bitch, and whore. Those are my 3 labels that I lived by. That was my I am statement. Growing up in a small country town of less than 2,000 people, being a psychic pink-haired medium, you think that, and a vegan, you like think that, you don't stand out there. So I just had a lot of trauma growing up around that. So I wore those labels that other people gave me from small-minded, small country towns. And it wasn't until I realized that we can rip those labels off and say, you know what? I am loving, I am beautiful, and I am creative. Those are my new empowering statements. So what I actually teach this at my goddess retreats because it's so powerful. We write those negative labels and we put it on ourselves, and I have them introduce themselves. I am stupid. I am worthless. I am whatever. And the tears that come down, and they don't realize that unconsciously you're projecting those labels out to every person that you connect with. So although we would never say it like, I am fat, like, hi, I'm fat, you know, like you would never go into a room and say that, but you carry that energy when you hold those labels. And so it's about removing those labels and reframing them with something positive. So my take on self-love is how you treat yourself, not on the outside, but on the inside. What stories do you tell yourself? Are you cheering? Are you championing yourself? Are you cheering yourself on? Are you beating yourself up when, like Robbie was saying the other day, she's always like, oh, whatever negative story she was saying when she'd make a mistake, how that was like creating that negative energy. It can be as simple as that creates a not good enough feeling. And so I think first step to self-love is, how do you talk to yourself?
Well said and concise. So what about imposter syndrome? Because we're talking about the grand I am statement here in April, and I'm encouraging everyone to stand in that grand I am statement. And I think a lot of people, you say it and there's a part of you that feels like you're lying, or there's a part of you feels guilty, or a part of you feels like you're going to bring on some sort of negative consequence from God by making this statement that you can't prove. What is your coaching around that?
Yeah, I remember when I first started saying, I am beautiful, my answer was cancel. If I heard myself say I'm fat, I would just say cancel. And then I would reframe and say, okay, I'm beautiful. And for the first months, it was cringy. I'm like, beautiful, like, oh, that feels weird. It's just a matter of like regrooving those synapses in the brain. And so over time, it becomes more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable. I mean, you've been so used to talking so much shit about yourself your whole life that feels comfortable. But if you ever said that, if someone said that to you, that wouldn't feel comfortable. So it's just about kind of finding that new groove in your mind. And it's going to take time. It's going to feel weird. You're going to have that imposter syndrome. But the truth is, you wouldn't claim that I am statement if you didn't already know it's true. And it's just a matter of integrating and embodying it. And if you're so worried about the imposter syndrome, take action. If you want to embody kind, if you want to embody healthy, take that healthy actions, and then we will negate all imposter syndrome feelings because we're actually doing the work. Maybe it's not to the level of perfection that us Virgos want it to be. Well, I'm not a Virgo. Oh. Anywho,
yeah, it's a lot.
we love you all. We need all you signs.
I'm glad someone's making sure it was measured correctly, but it's not me.
Correct. I'll just tell you where to go. You figure out the numbers. So, I digress, but I just think it's about really getting clear on the stories you tell yourself and then reframing them to something more positive.
Well, and you are a master Libra. This is not your first rodeo when it comes to relationships. You mentioned Chris, your partner, a few times, so you feel it. You clearly are a one. What do you have any advice for when we start this I am affirmation of being better and whatnot, and we've surrounded around ourselves in relationships where that's not how the relationship started, and you start to get this sort of pullback in your relationships or this kickback, especially women. I've noticed with women and men a lot, actually, in my clients. The woman starts to become empowered. sometimes from my counseling, and we're all proud and happy, but then the relationship, the man starts pulling her back, starts resisting. What advice do you have for women being a master Libra about how to manage the relationship when you are ascending higher than the relationship began at?
I mean, you have asked the question that inspired us to create the Evolved Couples Retreat. So I started hosting years of goddess retreats where they're reclaiming their power. We work through the entire chakra system. So no matter where you're at on your spiritual journey, we will find where you're stuck and where you're flowing, and we'll just integrate it all. What had happened is that women would go home, lose 70 pounds, start a job, leave this toxic relationship. Like, they were changing massively, and their partners are going, "Who are you? What happened? Like, I want that. How do I do that?" And what I find is there's two groups. There's the men that want to elevate and ascend, and there's the ones that absolutely don't want anything to do with it. So my advice is, real check. Is your partner willing to be open? Is your partner going to learn new things? Be okay with you talking about angel numbers and weird shit, you know? And if they're genuinely not open and not on that journey, can you live that life where he lets you have the freedom to be who you are, or is it a cage? So I think you have to get real clear on, is my partner willing to grow with me? And what we have found is a lot of them are. And that's why so many of the women I'd said, go tell Chris, don't tell me. We need a couples retreat. I want to bring my husband. And so when we had more than one and more than 3 people ask, can we start a couples retreat? Chris had always said, we're going to be known for teaching relationships. And I'm like, wow, why would we do that? That seems weird. But now I know, almost 20 years together in this lifetime, like, we're here to teach what true unity and love and how to hold space and freedom for each other. So the Evolved Couples started because women were outgrowing them and were outpacing them. So my advice is, be the leader. Know that you're going to have to hold space. Know that you're going to be the one. The roles have reversed, where all women were like looking for men's approval in the beginning of the relationship. When we reclaim our power, we can stand firm in who we are and say, okay, I'm going to give you space to grow. I'll give you tools and hope that it helps. And if they're willing to continue to grow with you, carry on. If they're not, you might want to reassess where y'all are headed and what is needed to find common ground, or peace out, you know?
Yeah. And I say to the men, it's what you saw that was so sexy in her. It's what you were so attracted to. You just didn't know what it was underneath the seams. And now that it's come forward, it's a little hard to deal with. So this is a good evolution to your Evolved Couples Retreat. Actually, I think this is a brilliant idea. Your next one is September 9th to the 13th of this year. That's a good time. I think it's a good time to bow out from reality in September. I've already been talking about that. It's going to be kind of a rocky month. So it'd be great to go. Tell us how this retreat came to be and what one could expect, because all of my married clients would probably benefit from this retreat.
Yeah, well, it came to be because we were elevating women so high that the men needed to catch up. So what we do at the Evolved Couples Retreat is, I always say, this is not for couples in crisis. This is actually an evolved relationship. So it's someone who, what someone described it as is healing the micro tears. It's not like there's a big crack and trauma in y'all's relationship and you can't communicate and you fight all the time. It's really about learning to get on the same page, and communication is always a huge part of it. So we've mapped it out into 3 different sections, where day 1, we work on the past. What is the baggage you've brought in that's still kind of lingering, and we just need to close that chapter. The second part is dealing with the present. Who are you today? Where are y'all have evolved over time? I mean, if you've been in a relationship 1 year or 20 years, it's important to figure out, we call it getting on the same page, Chris and I. What's your goals? Where are you going? How can I support you? Are we having enough sex? Do you like the food we're eating? You got to get clear on each other's goals and hold space for that so that you can support each other. And then the third day is about building your dream future together and really aligning what are my personal goals and what are our goals together as a couple, and how can we take action and implement that. And most importantly, lesson number 1 of Shine School, schedule it or it ain't happening. So scheduling sexy, intimate dates, scheduling time for talking. Chris and I, once a week, we call it updating the rules. Every Thursday morning, we go on a walk. We call it updating the rules. And we say, all right, what we live by this philosophy called the 7 or above rule in our program, the Elevated Life together. And that's rating everything on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being amazing, 1 being, I don't want to do it anymore. And we live by this philosophy that if it's not a 7 or above, it's not for us anymore. So because we get to choose Dorothy shoes, sparkly shoes, we get to decide the life we want. And so we ask, how's our health? How's the water? How's our sleep? How's taking care of our elderly dog? Like, we just kind of go through those main buckets of life and just see like what's slacking. Where were we? Oh, we skipped a lot of workouts this week because we were traveling too much. We need to lock down our routine. It's a simple 5-minute conversation that if couples would just spend more time just, hey, checking in, then you wouldn't lead to resentment and build up and like, why can't he read my mind? Because they don't. Okay. Besides Christopher Witecki here.
Not if I'm in a relationship with you.
Well, see, they're blocked. They can't do it. So you got to stop playing mind games. That's the biggest thing with women and men.
Oh yeah, definitely. That sounds great. So describe to me the place a couple is at who would be good for this particular tribe. You said no crisis couples.
No crisis couples, love you, but it's just not the place to like air it out. So the perfect couple here would be someone that loves their partner, that gets along with their partner, that needs to get away from the busy, stressful day-to-day life and put their kids on pause for a minute and just take time to rekindle that intimacy and connection. It's a couple who's willing to get curious and explore a little bit more of the Tantra world and deeper connection and physical intimacy. It's perfect for couples who are interested in really connecting with other high vibing couples, because that's where Chris and I were like, it would be really cool if we met other couples that actually loved each other, which sounds really sad. But it's a sad truth. And so we realized the power in bringing power couples together. If you put a bunch of them in the room, you can learn, grow, network, collab. And we actually have very good best friends from our first Evolved Couples retreat we did a few years ago, that we travel to Florida to see them and all, meet in different places for vacation, because we just developed such a great relationship. So it's really for high level of high vibe and couples that want to connect with other power couples and also just have a good time hanging out,
That's a great idea. And it seems like, couplehood is sort of fading away with online dating apps and people trying anything, like not knowing where they stand in the spectrum of everything. It's just, we just aren't really seeing long-term partnership, and marriage did a horrible job to the relationship spectrum. So it feels like, I love this direction. I feel like it's necessary for society to really start to strengthen and elevate our definition of what a high power, high vibe couple really is. Now you have another retreat called the Shine Tribe. It's a goddess retreat, so I can't go. April 28th to May 4th in Uvita, Costa Rica. Is that pronounced correctly?
Yeah. Apparently it means little grape. I just learned that.
Little grape. Okay.
Little grape. Yeah, we're going down to Costa Rica to do a 7-day wellness retreat for women. It's the goddess retreat where we work through the chakra system. And this one was designed to go down to Costa Rica so that we could play in the waterfalls and connect with the ocean and the jungle and just really like embody, I think is the right word. Not just like, let's learn more concepts. We'll learn and we'll heal because we're together. As you mentioned, just all you have to do is be together and the work is done. But I really wanted to find, again, another place to pamper and play and have this like luxurious experience that also is extremely transformative. So Costa Rica is the next goddess retreat. And it's really been the most incredible thing to see women reclaim their power. Like I said before, we actually had a woman come to my very first goddess retreat. And when I booked the house, I did it on a leap of faith. I thought this is either going to be a really expensive friends vacation and like family, or I'm going to have a retreat that sells out. And it was channeled through spirit and it was taken care of. So we did the retreat and we wrote intentions. I always do new moon, full moon, eclipse. I mean, we're not doing any more eclipses though, because that brought up everyone's trigger and trauma. Last April, give me a break. Okay. We even had to take a girl to the hospital. Like, get out. We're not doing eclipses anymore. So I will do new moon and full moon. I can handle that. So it was a new moon and we set our intentions on flying wish paper. And she wrote, I wish that love would find me at my door. And she was one of the first woman to book me for a tarot reading that was in a narcissist relationship. And I said, honey, are you a lesbian in a narcissist relationship? She just, yes. And she came to my first goddess retreat. She had left her partner. And so she wrote, I want to find love. I want love to find me at my door. Well, my first retreat was February 2020. So the world shut down right after I gave them the tools to manifest their dream life. And
Wow.
when she said, I want love to find me at her door, the woman that delivered her groceries ended up saying, hey, you've got a lot of kids in there. Do you need help? Like, I've never asked to come in, but like, do you want me to put help take some of these groceries in? And my friend said yes. And my friend brought her to my next goddess retreat so she could heal, to the next goddess retreat so they could heal. And then at my very first Evolved Couples retreat, she proposed on the same beach to her that she wrote that intention that she wanted to find love at her door.
Oh my goddess, that's so fun. And so many
Magical.
stories like that with my clients too. The joke, of course, is what does a lesbian drive to the first date? A U-Haul. So it's so true. Like walking in and sharing groceries, it's like women bond is so powerful when it works. I had a feeling it'd be a delivery person when you started that story. So
Was.
what kind of woman is ready for the Shine Tribe? Like, where are you in your life? Tell me, for my subscribers who are paying attention now, who may be interested in this, because I have a lot of clients I can think of right now that would benefit.
Yeah, the goddess retreat is for women who are ready to step into their power. They're done playing small. They've done some of the work. So, when I talk about chakras and, inner child, you're not like, what did she just say? So it's someone who's already been on the path of healing, but just needs that support and accountability, again, of high vibing sisterhood. So it's someone who's looking to plug into a real, genuine, authentic community of friendship that lasts a lifetime. Again, just like we hang out with the couples from the retreat, we become lifelong friends with the people that come, because this is like building. It's why I'm coming to Unite the Light. We're building our lightworker family. We need to connect. We have to rely on each other during this massive shift that we're experiencing. And we are going to do it with each other. So the perfect woman to come to the goddess retreat is someone who knows that they have power, but maybe they're just a little afraid of like fully embracing it, fully stepping into it. Or maybe you're like full on goddess mode and you just want to come get crowned, get massaged, do some sound baths in the jungle and lay under the waterfall and go ATVing with us. So it's really open to women who are just ready. I think ready is the word that comes to mind.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds powerful. And it's important too. I think women need to unite a bit more than they have. They've been a bit, I'm being stereotypical, but I see a lot of division. I see a lot of jealousy. I see a lot of petty. I see Instagram doing more harm than good. And so I wish there was more female to female empowerment activities out there. So bravo to you. Is it always Costa Rica? Is this a first try?
Yeah, this is our first international. We've done Destin all the way to Copper Mountain, Colorado, to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, down to Texas. We've kind of hit all over, but Costa Rica 10 years ago was life-changing for me. So I just find it full circle, 10 years to the date we're going back. So I don't know. To Costa Rica to see if we want to book it again, but I can't go until I feel it in the physical before I announce the next year's. But I can say that if you can't make it to Costa Rica literally next month, then we are doing the summer solstice wellness event that's happening in North Dallas, Texas. It is a full day wellness event where we bring in breath work, yoga, plant-based acai bowls. And it's a full day of pampering and play to hold space for the light workers and the leaders that are constantly pouring out to everyone else. I created a sacred space for all the leaders to come together. Same with the Unite the Light. I mean, when you shared that, I was like, gotta go, want to be a part of that, because I too last year was guided to create summer solstice and bring powerful leaders together so that we can pour back into them and they can have fun and they can connect and collaborate with more other like-minded souls. And in fact, this event was really about shining a light on our community. It's bringing in vendors, local chiropractors and hairdressers to put in feathers and braids. Like, I shine a light on all of the community. So we bring in vendors and different service providers so that we can make sure that if you're looking for a wellness advocate or a hormone specialist or a XYZ, you name it, I do my best to bring all the people that have supported and helped me on my journey of healing and expansion.
And that is going to be give us the date.
Yep, June 21st. So it's a Friday night, and full circle vision has come to mind. I've been trying to we started with the Goddess Gathering full moon circle 6 years ago. I would bring women I kept hearing women say in the salon, I feel alone. I feel alone. Nobody gets me. I'm like, well, you too? You don't have any friends? Like me either. Like we should hang out because I have a lot of cool clients that all need to unite. And so I started these Goddess Gatherings where we brought our community together. That turned into the retreats because I saw the healing power of what happens when you bring open-hearted, like-minded women together with a mission to make some changes. It was the most miraculous thing. So we developed the goddess retreats that were a longer period of time. So I've been trying to find the balance between okay, if you can't make it to a local goddess gathering and you can't make it for a whole week, I created the summer solstice so that it would be a one-day retreat kind of in between where you get the full circle experience of what going on a retreat feels like. And this year we're actually doing a slumber party overnight option, which that is a manifestation in and of itself. So it'll be a one night slumber party situation, which I am so stoked for.
Huh.
Yeah.
Like a big room with pillows or hotel or
so
notoriously arising means okay, what is this?
No, it's the most grand thing. It's this beautiful wedding venue that's on multi-acres out in the country. And they have multiple Airbnb farmhouses that have queen beds. Okay. You're not sleeping in tents or cots or anything. I do everything luxury because if I wouldn't do it, I'm not going to serve that to someone else. So it's a very upscale Airbnb farmhouse stay. So I had this vision of doing a goddess getaway where it was just the weekend, maybe 2 days, because again, one day is still not enough, but 7 days might be too much. So I kept dreaming, what if we could just do a goddess getaway for the weekend? Well, this summer solstice is kind of turning into this hybrid getaway, but maybe not the full amount, but we still get to stay the night together, which is fun. That's great. Kind of creepy, but rest assured. Rest assured.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I'm with you, and that's just my Taurus talking. I think roughing it is like a black and white television in a Holiday Inn. I'm a total city boy. I'm sorry. Is this for only women? This
is a women's wellness. And it's interesting because sometimes I'm but I feel bad because the men are waking up now. But my expertise is women. I've worked with women behind the chair for so long. I'm a woman and it's who I've coached. So I just am gonna ride that wave. I am all for supporting the men. And that's why we do the Evolved Couples Retreat, because I see that there's room at the table for anyone who's willing to put in the work and shine their light. So I almost feels exclusive, but it is what it is. And I'm just going to own that role.
No, I think it's great. I think that's great that you're doing it. And it's good that the women are going away and coming back, I think too, getting a break.
Yeah.
Makes it what?
I said, it makes us better for everyone. Okay.
Totally. And I've said this from the beginning of my career, help the women and you change the world, help the men. It's a gamble,
Well, they don't think they man. So it's fine.
Yeah, for the most part. And I am, prove me wrong, men. Stand up. Let's do this thing. How many men are watching right now? Give me a hands up.
Men.
We do. But that's okay. The women will lead us to that. Yeah. So tell me about, you were named the top 20 soul coaches of 2022. First of all, how do you get that title? That's cool.
Yeah.
You have a coaching program on your site. You have a Reclaim Your Magic in 90 days. That's like a 90-day coaching program. Is I correct about that? But you also do one-on-ones. Tell us about your life coaching, what you do.
Yeah. So I'm sitting at the goddess retreat the day before all the women get there, and I'm doing some junk on the phone, and all of a sudden, boom, I get an email. You are named top 20 soul coach. And it was just one of those moments of I cannot believe I'm here. I remember Chris I was putting my makeup on to go to the salon one day, and he was like, babe, I just had a vision of you. You're going to be on stage, empowering women, teaching women. And I yelled at him, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm a hairdresser. I don't want to do that. That's not me. And I'll never forget, standing on stage next to Sam Villa, the top educator in the hair industry, as I'm empowering all the women at a hair retreat. There's hundreds of women sitting in front of me with a mic in my hand. I'm like, oh, he saw this. This was the moment. So my coaching kind of just naturally started behind the chair. I would just listen to how women think and feel all damn day and not want to just sit there and take it. Hello, empath. I'm like, let's do something productive with this energy. So I've just always been a natural coach. I played sports my entire life. So I think I was just born to help empower. I was the high school mascot at Farmersville High School. Get out of here.
Really? What was
Yeah,
it?
it was. Can you guess?
No, I can't.
A farmer.
Oh, it
Okay.
was a farmer. They were the like high school. They were the farmers.
Fighting farmers, go team
Oh,
go.
that's cute. That's not too bad.
I
Yeah.
had little overalls. It was cute. So I have just always been this enthusiastic, want to help people out. So the coaching just started naturally happening behind the chair. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And then one day a girlfriend of mine said, "Hey, can I just pay you to coach me? Like not do my hair?"
Whoa.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can. She's like, "I just need you to help me with like my morning routine and just setting up my schedule." I was like, "Yes, yes." So my coaching career started because I was asked. My psychic abilities started because I was asked. The couples retreat, the goddess retreat, the anything you name it, my oracle deck, it was all created because I was asked and willing to just say, "You know what? That sounds fun. It's up my creative alley. Let's do it." So coaching was a natural thing that I just fell into by someone asking, and then obviously wanting to get better at my craft. So certs, coaches, classes, Tony Robbins, all the freaking things, Brendon Burchard, high performance coaching, like all the seminars. And the 90-day coaching package was created because I don't need more time than that. I've seen infinite amount of change when people are ready. And that, again, that's the message. Like, if you're ready, magic can happen. If you're not ready, you'll self-sabotage and you'll learn a lesson. And then hopefully you'll be ready after that because you've just proven to yourself that it was you the whole time. So you can stop doing it. So the 90-day package is my longest coaching package. I've thought about doing a year, but to be honest, I have been doing this for 10 years now. I have never needed more than 90 days, and I've never had anyone come back other than a 1 hour just catch-up call. So I'm going to keep rocking the 90-day. I'm intense, we work through the stuff. And then I do a 1 hour tarot. It's a hybrid of tarot coaching. I don't need the cards, but people are fascinated by them. So it's fun to check in with them sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it allows you to say stuff that it just gives you nice illustrations. It gives you just a little added benefit to explaining a point without sounding like it's coming from you or that you're projecting. I think it's great. You mentioned your Inside Oracle deck. What is your approach to your Oracle deck? How'd you come up with it? It's also another manifestation of Brittney's.
Yeah. So Shine School was created and we've had over 5,000 women go through the program. And Chris asked me one day, like, because, the follow through rate of courses is not very high. I'm sure, if you had like analytics on how consistent everyone is listening to daily pep talks, like it's not always, maybe yours is high because you're freaking fabulous, but the course follow through is low. So Chris asked me one day, okay, if we know this to be true and people don't just show up and take the whole thing, what is the thing that they're missing? And I sat with that for a minute and I thought, well, consistency. Consistency is what they're missing. And what have I been most consistent with in my self-care and my self-love journey? Well, since 2012, when I bought that first tarot deck from the psychic, I have pulled a card every day for myself for the last 12 plus years. And so I thought, you know what? If my consistent practice is pulling cards, what if I were to create an oracle deck to bridge the gap for the new to the woo people that are not ready to see devil and death cards? And what if I created an oracle deck that took all the Shine School lessons and put them into a beautiful affirmation deck all about empowerment, self-love, self-care rituals? So that's what we did. It took me 2 years to find the artist that just landed that hard knit moment where I was like, she's the one. She actually is October 11th, 2 days before me. So we did very well as two Libras together, creating something so beautiful. And it took 2 years to create. And I think this is important to share because I'm balancing running a hair salon, being a wife, self-discovery, and creating an oracle deck. So I gave myself permission to just work on it consistently, 30 minutes a day. Some days I sat there like, this is torture. I have no words coming through. And some days I sat there for 3 hours because it just wouldn't stop. So I think when it comes to channeling a creative project, we've got to give ourselves more patience. We've got to give ourselves more flexibility and flow. Everyone wants it done yesterday. And the Shine from the Inside Oracle was a 2-year Shine School was a 2-year project because it's about integrating and learning as you're creating the process. I'd never created a physical product before. I never had to get an ISBN number and deal with all printing and inventory and all of that. So, it was a long journey of learning what that entails, but it was really the call for the deck was because I love reading cards and I wanted to create something that was so beautiful and sparkly that it would inspire you to pick it up every day, but powerful and honest enough to kick you in the soul pants and be like, get it together, girl. Like it's time to, commit to your self-care.
It sounds like your tough love voice comes through the cards.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. I'm the day of the tough cookie if you look in like birthday astrological books and stuff like that.
The day of the tough cookie. You definitely
Yeah.
are. And I would just say, just to, to second that, SiriusJoy is coming out with a new version of the service on July 1st. And this is actually the version I originally envisioned. So it took 8 years to get to where I wanted. So just to back you up, like one thing about spiritual visions is they usually take, because you're seeing it in the spiritual world, you don't
Mhm.
realize how long it will take in the physical world to actually make it manifest. So thank you for sharing your timelines and whatnot. So it sounds like it's a kind of a tough love deck. A person who want to buy that would be just like, just tell me the god awful truth and tell it to me the nicest way. Is that who's these?
I mean, it's definitely not yelling at you, but let's just pull some cards. Let's just see what comes up.
Okay, cool.
Let's just see.
All right.
I'll just pull a few. Well, the first one is turn lemons into lessons. Like it's it's dark over here. We're trying to figure this out.
Pulling lemons
Turn
into
lemons
lessons.
into lessons. So this is the first one that comes up. That's one saying that you've got to reframe the past traumas that you've gone to into who did I become because of this? What did I grow into? How did I evolve? What was the good that came out of this? So that to me is probably one of the most tough love cards. The other one is forgive someone. That's a big one. Create your own happiness comes up. I'm going to see if I can get the frame. Create your own happiness. Surround yourself with your soul tribe. I mean, very loving, very beautiful, but the guidebook is really where I'm giving it to you. So the guidebook is 150 pages and, let's just give it a random open. I put lots of quotes in there and things like that. So the first quote that comes up is make sure that the people you spend your time with are a reflection of who you'd like to become. So, there's your forgive someone. It really is a positive yet honest, just an honest kick in the pants for sure. But it is rooted in beauty and love. And what I really love about this deck is that I read through all of the negative reviews of every major tarot and oracle deck on Amazon, which come from Hay House authors and all kinds of people. And I wanted to make sure that I covered everything that everyone had a problem with. And diversity, inclusion, representation was a big one. So you'll see all walks of life, all colors, all shapes, all sizes, everything within them, except for men. I did get one complaint, one negative review about no men, but I made it pretty clear it's a women's empowerment deck. So I don't know what they were expecting. But other than that, I really tried to make this where anyone could see themselves within this experience.
Okay, cool. Let's just do a little fun thing. How about someone in the audience who wants a card pull, like a woman obviously wants a card pulled. It'll take a minute. There's about a minute delay here. So if you want your card pulled, just tell in the chat and I'll name someone here that comes up and we'll pull a card for you so people can see. While we're waiting for that, I'll ask you, you have a quote on your site that says, I help the healers heal and the leaders lead with love. What do you mean by that statement?
Yeah, I hold space for the light workers that are doing the work already, but they need it's like when I come to you, Chris, I don't go to many people for that advice or that support. It's hard to find other high level leaders that you can trust. And so I make sure that I make it clear for other light workers who are doing the work that I'm here to hold that space for you. I'm here to be that mirror and reflection of you and maybe give you a little, just highlight those areas where you might just be draining or wasting a little bit of energy. So it's really about holding the space for the leaders that need that space held for them, because we all go through it. When you were mentioning like the last 3 years, like the light workers got pulled in, my cat died, my dad died, I broke my hand in a car accident, my hair fell out. I mean, what just happened to me? And so that's when I reached out to you. I was like, what is happening in my life right now? Because I'm usually tuned in. I can hear them. They're talking to me all the time. What is happening? So it's really about creating a safe space for other healers and other leaders that are already doing the work, but need that space held for them.
I love it. I love that we are allies in that regard. And again, I think your retreat on summer solstice is perfect. Little sleepover on the farm. So I chose two names here if you're willing to pull two cards, just to give an idea how it works. The first I'm going to say is Burgundy Anderson. You come on down. You're the next contestant. So Burgundy Anderson is her name, which I love the name. And she comes every week.
Powerful. Okay, this is for you, Burgundy. And also, you're right. It is a farm. There's many donkeys on the property. I'm just so excited.
Oh, so the men are coming.
Yeah, Flash and Oliver will be there. Okay, Burgundy, this is your card that comes up. Oh, I was going to mention this card earlier when we were talking about labels. This is remove the limiting labels you're wearing. So you can see she has this mask on, and on the mask, she's words like lack, frail, can't, sad, tired, ugly, fat, feeble, sickly, delicate, bitch, all of the negative labels that we give ourselves. So this card is coming up because there are negative labels that are holding you back from shining your authentic light. This is saying it's time for you to stop that negative story you tell yourself and replace it with your new I am statement. I am powerful. I am here for a reason. I am here to make a difference. So this is highlighting exactly what today's conversation has been about. And that is, are you your own best friend, sis? And if not, we need to rip that mask off and say, I'm done with this. And in fact, one of the women that put that label on herself, the very first retreat I did, she put that label on and she just tears fell and she said, I'm so mean to myself. And I think that we all have experienced that. So this is your soul nudging to start loving yourself and release those negative labels.
Burgundy says, I believe. That's great. And if you don't mind, one more, we'll just do one more so it feels like in my gut. This is Margot Malia, another one of our super chat friends who's here every week supporting us, Margot.
All right, Margot, this is for you. Margot's message.
Card me, says Margot.
Pardon me. I love it. Oh, well, Margot said it. She got it. She's getting 3.
Whoa, she scored.
When it happened, she said, card me, it happened. So journal it out, right? How you feel came up again, which is the card I pulled for the collective. So getting clear on what it is that you need, what it is that you want. The second card comes up, the heck? Surround yourself with your soul tribe. This was what I just pulled earlier. So it's saying you need to get clear on who you want to hang out with and what kind of energy you want to surround yourself with. And then the last one.
Uh-oh. Oh, look at this. She's doing a victory lap.
Get out of here. Create your own happiness. How did those 3 cards just fly out? And those are the ones that I mentioned earlier. So weirdly enough, I'm going to just trust that it is meant to be. You are here to write out how you're feeling. And this reminds me of the burn the bullshit ritual we do every full moon, and we'll do it at summer solstice, where we write down all the things we want to let go of, purging out all the negative stories, the old beliefs, the old labels, the old people, just everything, getting it out. What this feels like is you need to get rid of the past, clear it out so that you can actually surround yourself with people that do support you, that do help you, lift you up to believe in your dreams and say, okay, you're on this precipice of change. I'm going to hold that space to show you that this is possible for you. And create your own happiness is taking that pen and writing your story. So releasing what you don't want and writing the story that you do. You hold the power, and you're letting outside influences probably dim your light a little. And that's why you need to come to Unite the Light and hang out with us.
Yes. And yours as well. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing. And actually, this is kind of is this what Woo Woo Wednesdays are like with you?
Yep. So I always try to keep them 15 minutes, but like you, I can channel and I just don't shut up. So they're usually about 30 minutes. But yes, I pull oracle cards. Sometimes I pull tarot. If I have a friend that's created a deck, I'll pull cards from them. And sometimes I change it up. I'll read cards for all 12 signs. A lot of the times I just pull 3 cards for the week. And yeah, sometimes I do individual personal. It just depends on what mood I'm in.
Okay, great. And that's every Wednesday at what time? What time zone?
Yeah, I'm in the Time Doesn't Rule Me. So it's usually around the 3 o'clock Central Standard Time on Wednesdays.
3 o'clock on Wednesday. So that's 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Okay, great.
Yep.
But she has a Pisces rising, so it might be 3:03 or 2:55.
Never 2:55. Never.
Okay, so it's going to be 3 or later. We'll just stay on standby. And you have also, before I let you go, I want to make sure how people, I mean, you know, all these things, this is all you've done. You have a great manifestation, man. You are very lady. You are powerful in how much you've manifested. You also do Elevated Life podcast, a podcast. When is your podcast out and what do you focus on with your podcast?
Yeah. So the Elevated Life was born hanging out with Chris. We would just have these elevated conversations where he would channel some things that I'm like, people need to hear this. So I eventually got his Aquarian self to record, to do the social media thing. And about 7 years ago, when we were studying online marketing and going to business for yourself in the online space, Facebook Live was the thing. It was brand new. And so Chris and I, every Friday, would do a Facebook Live, and we called it the Elevated Life. Funny enough, Chris and I are both Life Path 11. And if you do the numerology of the Elevated Life, it's also an 11. So when I presented this name to the psychic, I was like, I think we're supposed to work together. He tried to do hair and that was terrible. I tried to do real estate with him and I didn't do so good at that. So we've always known we were supposed to work together. And when we came up with this idea called the Elevated Life, the psychic was like, that's it. That's what you're supposed to do. So every Friday we would go live. We did that for years. And then there's tons of videos on my YouTube channel. And then in 2020, my salon shut down. We had a lot of extra free time. So we changed it up. We did a podcast, and we've been doing that for the last 4 years that we just put a pause on last month to kind of reassess. We've done it for multi-years. So now it's like, what's that next creative channel and expression that we want to do? And I think it's getting back to YouTube video. We love being on video and live, and it's just so fun because it's real. You can't fake live, which is why I love what you do.
I'm loving the live vibe too. I mean, I was pushed to do it for a long time. Like, I don't want to be, like, I want to be rehearsed. And then I did it. And I was like, oh my God, the psychic high off of this. Oh. Not that I'm in it for the high, but it's just like, I'm just so connected. It just feels so good to be connected. Yeah. And I want to do like in person on Sundays or whatever. But I'm like, who am I going to draw on in Denver or in Texas? So it's turned out to be great. So I'm with you. Yeah, you'd show up. That'd be great. Yeah. You and Chris. Well, we had a few subscribers say, where is Chris? We'd like to see him now. So I'd love to have you back. Maybe you and Chris back on the show. Maybe before your couples retreat or something, we could have you on as a couple. Think about it. I know with the aqua, you're going to have to vet it out in a few weeks.
The answer is yes, because he's actually told me, I'll start using social media. So like he's all for it. I would love to bring him on because it's just incredible to see him shine his light and share on hypnosis and how you can instantly create change in your subconscious. So I feel like he would bring a great dynamic and wisdom. And the Elevated Life podcast and lives actually turned into a membership course that we've had for 7 years consistently, which if you know about running a membership, you're on the hook every month, every day. It's like constant creation. So we have over 75 90-minute master classes, from overcoming imposter syndrome and self-sabotage to healing intimacy, chakras, how to do breath work, how to start a spiritual based business. If there's a topic on personal development and spirituality, we've already covered it inside the Elevated Life Club, as well as yoga and meditation videos, because Chris and I are both yoga teachers. So,
oh, wow.
The Elevated Life is we call it Netflix for the soul. It's just like a resource hub. So if you want to learn deeper from us, both Chris and I, to get both blended perspectives of logical male and intuitive female, it's the perfect blend to kind of learn full circle holistically.
Lovely. That's the Elevated Life Membership Club, which I imagine is available on your website, BrittneyCarmichael.com. Is that correct?
Yep, you got it.
And then you have some freebies for us. And even again, it's not one, it's three. There's a Reclaim Your Goddess Power 3-day virtual retreat. There's a day self-care kickstart challenge, and there's Discover Your Passions journal guide. You have so much, Brittney. Where does someone start with a woman like you?
Oh my God, 30 years ago? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So if you're someone who's like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, then I would start with the journal guide. That's just going to give you these prompts to start uncovering, like, who are you? The self-care challenge is for someone who's like, I need accountability. I'm ready to take action. I want to make change. It's a 5-day, it's recorded live, but it's not live. So you'll feel like you're like, I'm there. So 5-day self-care kickstart challenge, incredible to just get that momentum going. I'm like the fire starter under you. And then my favorite, which is the first thing you said, is my newest program. And that's the 3-day virtual retreat of reclaiming your goddess power. Again, I'm always trying to outdo myself. And I thought, how do I bring the magic of these retreats to more people? So I created a 3-day virtual retreat where I actually work through the top 3 chakras. So this is more of an elevated reclaim your like goddess power versus starting at the root. And I teach the tools on how to open up the heart and create boundaries, how to speak and communicate without being afraid, and how to tap into your third eye and intuition without fear. So this 3-day virtual retreat is kind of like the experience that you would get if you came to Goddess Retreat, and also some of the similar teachings and exercises that we do at the event too.
Brilliant. Sounds like a great way to start, especially for our 90% female audience. So thank you, Brittney, for coming on. I'm so grateful. You have so much light, intelligence, beauty, great ideas. I think you're a star that's about to be unveiled to the world as a supernova. We'd love to have you back. I'd also love to have you backstage after this, so hang out so we can talk to you about a few things. Thank you so much for reaching out when you did to do a trade. I really appreciate it. It's turned into something wonderful.
Yes, I'm truly grateful for this opportunity to get to share. I can feel all the energy of everyone live. I just can't see anything that they're saying. So I can't wait to go back and just check in with everyone. I hope to connect with this community because I've been a part of SiriusJoy for years now. I literally thought I was going to sign up for your $3.99 trial and just bolt, but you have kept me hooked for years, sir. So thank you for truly being a genuine, authentic, bright, shining light in this world. It feels so good to know we're not alone.
Oh, thank you. That's so heartfelt. And you said you'll be at Unite the Light, yes? So
yeah, absolutely.
So anyone wants to meet her, come on down. She'll be there. We'll have to bring you up on stage. It'll be amazing.
Would love that.
I would love that too. All right, stand by and we'll talk to you here in a minute. Thank you very much, Brittney Carmichael. A memorable name too. Kind of has a good hook to it, don't you think, Brittney Carmichael? 1 second here as I open up something I closed. So many files, so little time. We do prepare here. First of all, we've said it many times. I just want to wrap up with, if you're on the fence for Unite the Light, please do not be on the fence. I have a feeling this is going to be a very special event. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the collaboration, the coming together, the setting up for what we're about to go through. We have a major trial coming on our planet, and we need to unite our light and come together, have each other's phone numbers, have each other's back. This is a networking event more than anything, but there'll also be phenomenal entertainment. There'll also be us talking on stage, inspirational speakers. People like Brittney Carmichael are coming. So if you want to drown in the light, don't be cheap with yourself with Jupiter and Taurus. You will manifest the money if that's what you're on the fence about. And I do think the world's going to get a little hairy in the fall. This isn't a scare tactic, but I was going to do it later in the fall. My guys are like, nope. Things will be too crazy in the fall. You've got to do it in the spring. So we found the perfect date, May 18th and 19th in Austin, Texas. It's a Lightworker Summit, unitethelight.love. There's a VIP ticket that comes with the Enchanted Dinner. The other ticket does not come with the Enchanted Dinner. Literally, the difference of the cost is how much it costs to cater the event. So we're very transparent about this. We're putting a lot of money into luxury and good care. And we want to bring our crew of family and light together. So all of my SiriusJoy stars are going to be there, by the way, as many stars you may already know as well, including Chris Reck, Scott Cruz, Brittney Carmichael. We also have Devin Dewar and many more. So it's going to be phenomenal. Unitethelight.love. Please come. I would love to give you a hug and do a selfie. Now, if you can't, well, then you can always get the energy of Unite the Light through our personal app, SiriusJoy.com. Subscribe for the most amazing, most uplifting, supportive astrology service there is. We know you better than you do because we have your chart on file, and all of our software is designed to pep you up through the day. I literally give you 5 to 7 messages a day, text message to you, so you don't have to log into the app, that really help you with your day. And we have phenomenal programming that also is ancillary. Last week, we had the mega golden address with yours truly, where I went into for all 12 signs, basically what they can expect for the upcoming month ahead. That was powerful. You also have individual mega monthlies going live on April Fool's Day, where we'll talk about your coaching for your sign, basically. We're going to talk about the grand I am. I'm going to coach each of the 12 signs into where I feel the grand I am is. That's in the Mega Monthlies. By the way, Mega Monthlies are also available in our SiriusJoy.cloud service. So you can actually buy them a la carte. If you're not ready to subscribe, if you're not ready to go steady with me, we can date. You can just go to SiriusJoy.cloud and you can pick up one or two of those as of April 1st. This week, we are having our town hall meeting, which is basically the wrap up of the 40 days of past lives and karma. We have a town hall meeting that will be this Wednesday. This will be a live meeting. All subscribers are invited to be a part of this. There'll be a Zoom call. You'll be able to ask questions. Joining me on camera will be Robbie Hunt and Devin Doer. Two of our SiriusJoy stars will be there. Looking forward to that at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific this Wednesday, April 3rd. Sharing is caring. The only thing I ask from you is if you would just share us with your friends and family, share our horoscopes that come out individually on Tuesdays, share my service, SiriusJoy, share one of my little quote boxes and shorts that I put on YouTube. I also put clips on Instagram. Really, we have grown completely by word of mouth, and we appreciate that you share your what's the word I'm looking for? Your blessing with your friends and family. So if you would share us, we greatly appreciate it. Share our SiriusJoy channel as well. Some people like to donate instead of just sharing or whatnot. We do accept donations. I used to say I don't accept them, but then I found all my fortune and all my sales opened up when I would accept donations. So I am humbled. I accept donations at paypal.me/Sensei Christopher. We also have a Facebook group. It's called SiriusJoy.club. Any lightworker is welcome to advertise their services at SiriusJoy.club. It's where I post what I'm doing personally. So when I have family vacations or stuff going on, I put it in the club. That's the only place I put it. I don't put it anywhere on my other social media. So if you're interested in knowing what Sensei looks like out of a nice sweater, you can see for yourself. We also have a what we call the Chiron study group, which is a study group to help you learn esoteric knowledge. That's free. And that's also a spinoff of the SiriusJoy.club. If you want to follow us, I have a social tree. It is SiriusJoy.social. So go to SiriusJoy.social to see where our social media sites are. And if you'd rather listen instead of watch, we are in audio form only on Spotify, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. I do want to say a special thank you to our producer, Noelle Way, our casting director, Mara Moon, our director, Sarah Lyman, doing all the cues in the background, and my incredible teaching staff at SiriusJoy, Heather Exposito, Gwen English, Joe Zammett, Devin Doer, Kristen Ryder, and Robbie Hunt. And a special thanks to our super friends in the audience. Our friend Sydney, the 22-degree Leo, Princess Coffee Bean, Jill Louise, Margot Malia, who got a card pulled tonight, Lori Ship, Nikki Anderson, Libran Lauren, Experimental Elemental, Erica, Michelle Camper, Michelle Bell, Kat Ryder, my soul brother, Dale Blankenship. I saw all your jokes tonight, dude. They were funny. Neptune Girl, Jamar, Christine Kelly, and as always, Iggy and a new come Nitu. So proud to have you. All right, friends, that's all we have for this fabulous week. I'll be back 1 week from now on Earth 3 and with Mercury Retrograde. Thank you as always for being a part of our family. We love you. Until next week, live, love, be.
It's SiriusJoy.